top dog today. Nicknamed the paperclip, a new face on the move. Sauter joins a quartet of usual suspects with 5 to go. These are the 5 who are separating themselves, but only one, Hornaday, is on top for now. Yes, it is the paperclip, and on paper, it doesn't sound so bad. Only a half mile, nice and flat. Well, don't be fooled. Today, she is not only mean, she is old, she is very, very soggy. The setup is trying to dry out, but it is on. Hello everyone and welcome to the setup. I'm Krista Voda, and yes, it is extremely soggy here. Rain throughout the day, off and on at times. Very heavy. As you will notice, I have galoshes. My pants are 2 different colors from the rain soaking them. The raincoat is on everyone trying to get ready and dry out below. As you hear though, the jet dryers are on the track, so we are going to go racing very soon. And we did see some money blowing there. Money blowing away. Someone grab that. Money is on the loose. Soon the truck drivers will be on the loose as well. Let's go ahead and get you caught up on some of the storylines other than Mother Nature. Let's start with the front row. Mike Skinner is making his 200th Truck Series start, and for the 50th time, he claims the pole. He started up front more than that with things like this, rainouts, but he is on the pole today. Ron Hornaday, our series leader, is alongside. Well, our winner last time we raced 4 weeks ago was Johnny Sauter, and that win did him good. He is now re-signed with his team ThorSport for 2010. Owner Duke Thorson says the paperwork was ready to go before that win, but that definitely sealed the deal. And Sauter and others might soon be racing against some new faces. Nelson Piquet Jr. from Formula One and the IRL's Vitor Mira were scheduled for a truck test at Rockingham last week. Rain, imagine that, prohibited their track time, but they were able to take some laps later in the week at Motor Mile. So keep your eye out for that. We could have some new faces in the Truck Series very soon. We told you it's been 4 weeks since we went racing. That seems like a long time ago. In fact, the last time trucks were on the track, the leaves were still on the trees and the Dodgers still had a chance. Let's get you caught up. Here's our last race at Vegas.
Nobody's worried about points tonight. They're worried about finding victory lane at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Entire grandstand is in the dark, which in turn is pretty dark on the racetrack.
Caution flag comes back out. They were going to go to the green flag, but they say that there was some light issues in turn number 1.
I think this is the problem. This is why we don't have the lights, because this was not plugged in.
Green flag will go in the air, and we're underway at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
High banks, high speeds, and that seems to suit many of these drivers.
Oh, problems. Taylor Balsam sideways on the racetrack. Field slows, and it looks like it's going to be a one-truck incident. Problems in turn number 4. It's the 15 of Brian Eichler.
They will roar down into the banking of turn number 3 and 4.
Oh, problems on the racetrack once again. This time it's Ricky Carmichael that gets into the wall.
We just saw Ricky racing with Todd back there just a few moments ago.
Our new leader, Johnny Sauter, in that Fun-San Chevy Silverado. Into the wall is the 16 of Brian Scott.
Now, this is when the strategy is going to come into play. Everybody has enough fuel to get to the end.
Plenty good lead. You can save yourself a little bit.
The odds makers here in Las Vegas said 12 to 1 that Johnny Sauter would go to victory lane.
He's got over a 2-second lead over his teammate right now. He just has to make sure he has enough fuel to get to the end.
Come on down here and get this checkered flag.
Fans on their feet. Johnny Sauter will win at Las Vegas.
I can't believe it. This is awesome, awesome, awesome. I never thought I'd win another race.
Taking a look at the Copart point standings with the win, Sauter moves up 2 positions. He is now 5th in the standings. Timothy Peters also climbs 2 into the top 10. Colin Brown drops 2. The top 4 drivers remain the same. In fact, after finishing 2nd last week, Matt Crafton gained some ground on Hornaday. Is it time to hit the panic button? Ray Dunlap is with our leader.
Well, I'll tell you, when you talk about Martinsville Speedway, Ron Hornaday's had some good runs here, a couple of third-place finishes, a 2nd in the spring, and another good qualifying effort, Ron. So how excited are you about today's race?
Cup cars ain't out there, no rubber, so I don't know what to expect. I know Rick Rinn's got some good adjustments in his VFW Chevrolet, so we'll see. We just got to get this race off and hopefully put our show on for the fans.
You know, Ron, when we talk about the season championship, you always have to look at Martinsville as Talladega as two possibilities where something could go wrong. Do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we got to keep the fenders on this thing. We got to have good pit stops and just basically points race today. We got to keep motivation going in the whole team, but we still got to think of a top 5, top 10 right now.
All right, we wish you good luck. Ron Hornaday with a good qualifying run. Let's go to Adam Alexander.
And it's been a tough weekend for the man chasing Ron Hornaday, Matt Crafton. You guys qualified 22nd, fought the truck yesterday in practice, but rain means no rubber on the track. How can that help you guys?
I hope. We keep telling ourselves it's going to help us. I mean, usually when you have a green racetrack and the track doesn't have any rubber on it, it will be quite a bit freer. And I was actually looking forward to the Cup guys not going out and putting the rubber on the racetrack for us. I mean, these guys worked their tails off yesterday. I mean, I say that so often. I mean, they changed spindles, they changed front springs, they changed A-arms before qualifying. I mean, we went out there completely unknown, didn't make a qualifying run yesterday during practice, and we still are a little bit off, but I said we're going to come down early, work on the thing a little bit if we're off, and we'll be there at the end.
Because this being a short track and all the lap traffic, we know anything can happen here. Certainly Talladega next week, a wild card. If you guys are going to make up ground on Hornaday, do you have to cut into the big chunk the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, the next 2 weeks, I mean, are going to be huge. I mean, that's Talladega and Martinsville. I mean, I say Martinsville just as big as Talladega. I mean, you see the front straightaway pile up every once in a while. But I really do believe, I mean, this Menard Schrock Chevy will be up front at the end. I mean, these guys have done this, I mean, so many weeks this year. We've been off a little bit during practice, and that's what makes this team so great. Just never give up and just keep working on things throughout the race, and we'll be there at the end.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. How come the boys don't look as waterlogged as I do? Our top 3 drivers are separated by 255 points. Skinner is chasing down Kraft, and the big discrepancy, you see, bonus points. Something else that could play a factor in today's race, Kevin Harvick. The last time he was in the field in New Hampshire, things got a little heated between he and Hornaday.
You know, we're here to race. That's why we came, and Hornaday's running really well, and that's the primary focus, is to do what we have to do for the championship.
Here is a battle between Kevin Harvick and Ron Hornaday for the lead.
And don't think there's not a little bragging rights going on right there within the KHI team.
What a pass there. What's the deal? I don't know.
He's racing just as hard as you are, Ron. I don't know what he's doing, but he's all over you.
Here comes Harvick again. Look at the inside.
You better tell him to let me go here before we wreck. Tell him if he doesn't let me go, he's going to have a hard time explaining.
We've got 2 guys on the same team that are not communicating well within that team.
And one of them's the owner.
Basically, I'm not in charge of this company, am I? Crew chief, spotter, driver, I want in the trailer when we get done. That's the most ignorant thing I've ever seen right there. Racing for a goddamn championship, we're going to give the freaking race away. But these morons can't communicate.
Heard on the radio, Kevin Harvick said, have him move out of the way so I can catch the 51. Well, apparently that message was never conveyed to Ron Hornaday.
Take us through the closing laps and your thought process with you and Hornaday.
Well, there was no thought process, obviously. Just poor communication between Rick Corelli and Hornaday and Rick Wren. And, you know, I felt like we gave it away.
You know, he got up to me 3 or 4 times. I backed off. He ran underneath me. I thought he was actually, you know, I don't know if he was getting loose or whatever underneath me, but I'm going to talk to him right now. I don't know what I done wrong, so I got to find out.
Second and third for KHI, but no doubt about it, they're not satisfied.
And there's no question about it. One guy that was right in the middle of that storm was Rick Wren. And Rick, we were looking back on those videos, and when we think about teammates racing in the race, a couple of different objectives going on out there. You and Hornaday trying to win a championship. So what have you, Kevin Harvick, and Rick Corelli and everybody figured out how you approach these last 5 races?
Well, it's still, we're trying to win the championship, but you know, it's still, Kevin's a racer just like Ron's a racer, so they both want a race to win. And you know, Horn and I, we sat and we had a chat last night, and we've chatted about it again this morning. We kind of got us a plan, and it's kind of tough when you have teammates in the same stable. I mean, we've seen it, and Martinsville's a bad place for that. And if anybody's real old-timey, they're going to remember Rick Hendrick had a heck of a battle with Kenny Schrader, and might have been Jeff Bodine, wrecked each other. We've seen Jeff and Jimmy get into it on the last lap and turning each other sideways. We both got really good race trucks. I mean, we're both going to be racing to win. As if you can say if there's team orders, no, there's still not team orders. We're racing to win. But Ron and I I told him I want to win this race really bad. Me and Hornaday have neither one won this race here. But the big picture is still Homestead. So we'll just see how it all plays out.
5 races to go, and the 33 team has a 197-point lead. Krista?
Good stuff indeed, Ray. Thank you very much. You know, this track, she's old, she's mean, she's a man-eater. Well, right now, Mother Nature is as well. She is starting to spit some rain down here on the track again. The drivers starting to take shelter under their tents. Don't worry, we're not going anywhere. No shelter for us. We've got more of the setup right after this.
Coming up from Martinsville, Johnny Sauter talks about being able to do something he thought he'd never do again.
You go so long without winning a race that you're like, man, can I even do this anymore? I mean, is this possible?
And we'll open the vault to take a look at the first truck race ever held at Martinsville Speedway. Plus, we'll have all the short track bumping and banging from the paperclip when the setup returns, only on Speed.
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series setup is brought to you by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you want to pay. Go to Copart.com today. By Camping World RV Sales. Visit CampingWorld.com for the best values on towables. And by Lumber Liquidators, hardwood floors for less. Back here in Martinsville, and yes, is it raining? Is it wet in Martinsville? Well, if you didn't know before, you know now. Actually, this is kind of deja vu. When we were here in the spring, we had rain delays that took us to Monday. That was when we raced. Kevin Harvick won that race. And the first race that was held here, well, we had weather conditions for that one as well. Do you remember? It was back in 1995. Let's go ahead and open up the vault.
Welcome to Martinsville Speedway. The date, September 25th, 1995. The first ever truck race at Martinsville Speedway.
Where the long-awaited sign of race trucks taking to the racetrack is what we're seeing now.
After rain canceled the scheduled start on Saturday, the trucks were forced to run on Monday. Since qualifying was also rained out, the field was set by owners' points, pushing Ernie Irvan's much-anticipated return to NASCAR back 1 week. The weekday race also meant that one driver had to get a note from his parents so he could miss school.
Barry's doing a respectable job here today for a kid who's never raced anything bigger than a go-kart.
Luckily, his dad was racing with him.
One of his dad's, Jim Bonan's trucks.
This marked the first time in the truck series that a father and son raced together. Maybe Barry shouldn't have played hooky. Everyone walked away and set up an exciting fight to the finish. Mike Skinner had led all but 14 laps when he and leader Jeff Bodine spun, coming to the white flag.
They both spin, and here comes Rutman. Checkered flag. Yeah, they're throwing a checkered flag. They throw the checkered flag on Rutman.
Even though Ernie Irvan wasn't able to compete in the race, he still got the win as Rutman's truck owner. Until next time, this has been The Vault.
Very cool to see the father-son combo. Next week, we'll have a father-daughter on the track. 5 drivers who were in that very first race are in the field today. You see them: Skinner, Hornaday, Sadler, Setzer, and Bodine. And as you saw, the race winner, Joe Rutman. Well, Hornaday, one of those guys who was in that race, he has never won at this track. That is so hard to believe. He qualified second, and it was a lap even he was surprised by. So the question I have for Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip, who, by the way, are upstairs nice and dry, I want to point out, is this the day Hornaday finally checks Martinsville off his list?
You know, that's a great question. Ron Hornaday, the past 10 short track races, has won 3 of them. So 30% of the races that we've run at short tracks, he's gone to victory lane. But he's never been to victory lane at Martinsville. Can he change that today?
Well, he sure can. He has a great truck. But right now, these guys really struggle early on in practice with no rubber on the racetrack.
Sure.
Typically on the weekend, when the weekend starts, everybody struggles till they get some rubber down. Obviously, with all the rain we've had today, the rubber's gone. So it's going to be a lot of adjustments, I think. We typically talk about this race being whenever you can get in your pit window for fuel, you stop. You don't even put tires on, and then you try for the track position for the end of the race. These guys may now have to make some adjustments, put tires on, just on the wedge, the track bar and stuff. So this may change the whole complexion of the race. But for a driver, Michael, you get up in the morning and you know what your plan is, and then it rains.
Yeah, and you hear that rain starting to hit the roof of your bus if you're staying here at the track and you're thinking, man, what's going to play out today? How's today going to work out? But, Phil, you know, if I had a good truck, Harvick had a great truck yesterday in practice, and so did Hornaday. If I've got a good truck and it rains and it washes all the rubber away, I don't really 100% care. I know at the first of the race, my truck's going to be a little bit different, but I'm going to tell Rick Grin, my crew chief, let's not do a whole lot to it, because when the rubber goes down, and it will, after just a few laps of 30-some trucks out there racing around, the truck will get better. It'll get more like it was yesterday in practice. So you want to do something, but then you get to thinking, should I do anything, or how should I adjust? How should I approach today's race?
And don't panic.
Right.
Don't panic if you can't drive it early on.
Now, you're talking about changes and things like that. The story or the strategy going into this race has been around 15, 20, 25 laps. Come in, put fuel on, don't worry about tires because it's a very short race. Now you're talking about making adjustments, tires. This changes everything.
Potentially. But it still may be, I think the guys are going to still stay with their game plan. Let's get in at 15 or 20 laps, and then we'll play it out for a while and see. Number one, we got to make sure we get enough caution laps. So if we go 15, 20 laps, we get a caution. Typically there is a caution inside of the top 20, first 20 laps. Then we come in. Then we watch the monitor. We have to get some caution laps. We need about probably 40 to 50 to 60 caution laps. Right. This race averages 55 caution laps for this 200-lap race. So the crew chiefs are going to be watching that and make sure we get enough cautions in the first half, because you don't want to stop on lap 150 because you didn't get enough caution laps.
You know, Rick, you make a good point, though. We're going to pit on lap 15 and get fuel so we can go the rest of the way. Well, the track's different. My truck's no good. What do I do now? Do I want to pit and get my gas, but do I have my crew chief adjust on it because I don't like it? Or do I just do like Phil said earlier, don't panic, it'll come to you, it'll get better. So there is some tense race car drivers and also crew chiefs on pit road trying to figure out what strategy to utilize today. And this race always comes down. I mean, it seems like always pit stops and pit strategy plays into the finish of the race.
The most important question, are we going to race? I mean, the meteorologists, are we going to race today? Michael, what do you think?
Well, we think so. We're very optimistic, though.
There's no lights here, so it's got to start at least by 5 o'clock.
That's what we think so, anyway.
Is Krista because she could be our weather rock.
Meteorologist, Krista Voda. What do you think, Krista?
Well, I do not have a meteorology degree, but I can tell you, as you can probably see, and if you were to look at my galoshes jumping around in puddles or my hair, you know it is definitely raining out here. Yeah, you guys wouldn't know it because you're nice and dry in the booth. It has started and stopped raining about 7 to 8 different times today. All I know, Ray Dunlap, Mother Nature's a tease.
Yeah, it hasn't been going so well right now, Krista, and the rain is starting to pick up just a little bit. But I just took a look at the future forecast on weatherchannel.com, and they say that it is going to clear out of here between 2 and 2:15, and that we'll have an open window all the way to 4:45. So if it clears out of here at 2:15, it'll take about 45 or 50 minutes to get the track dry. And I say that at 3:05 or 3:10, there'll be trucks on the racetrack, and that gives us just enough time to run all 200 laps.
Okay, Ray, so just so I'm clear, at our last race, you completely figured out the power situation at Las Vegas, and now you know the weather. You're good.
That's what I'm here for.
I love it. All right, let's see what Adam has. I mean, Ray knows the weather forecast. Adam, what are you doing down there? Just loafing or what?
I got to tell you, I've made a few calls to some of my people, and I'm with Ray. I say in the next hour and 30 minutes, we are going to be racing, and just so you know, I got a little wager on what time we're going to go green, so perhaps dinner on me tonight, huh, Krista?
I want to know who your people are, Adam. That's what I want to know. You have people? One person. All right, we still have a lot more of the setup. Even as the rain continues to fall, we still have the storyline. So when we do go racing, you will completely be set up. Coming up, we're going to talk about the little engine that could, Thor Sport. They're kind of the David versus Goliath. Were 1-2 at Las Vegas. We're going to tell you a little bit more about Matt Crafton and specifically his teammate, Johnny Sauter. So stick around. And hey, Adam, that's his person. No, is he really? He's talking to his one person.
I'm talking to my people, Krista.
I thought it was one. What are you saying?
And yes, we can confirm the rain will stop at 2:30.
Oh, okay.
We've got the confirmation. Go ahead.
Perfect. That's all we needed to know.
Music.
That's all we needed to know. Hey, you know, weather obviously affects a lot of sports, but nothing like NASCAR. Sometimes it does affect things like baseball and football. We have some of our drivers. Are you fans of the World Series or the Super Bowl? We'll be back with more setup. In the meantime, chew on this, bumper to bumper.
Super Bowl, hands down.
The Super Bowl. Super Bowl, for sure.
I love baseball, grew up playing baseball. Baseball's good, but something about the Super Bowl, it's kind of like going to Daytona. It's magical.
A little bit faster paced game, so being racing, it's got to be a little bit faster.
My boss, Randy Moss, would be playing in it.
Both. I mean, I haven't had a chance to go to either one.
World Series.
I've been to about 4 Super Bowls, so I think it's time to go to World Series.
Baseball is America's pastime, and I'm a big baseball fan, Milwaukee Brewers fan.
I love the history and I love the pastime about baseball.
I guess I'd like to attend the World Series if the Boston Red Sox are playing in it. That'd be pretty cool.
I'm a huge Red Sox fan, and I would love to go to see them in the World Series.
I'm a fan of athletes in any division and anything that people do.
Setup is brought to you by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you want to pay. Go to Copart.com today. And by Camping World's Destination Recreation Sweepstakes. Log on to campingworld.com/racing. This is the last week to enter for weekly giveaways. This week, win one of 5 Honda generators. Welcome back to Martinsville, and yes, do not adjust your television. Those are raindrops, and a lot of them. Rain has been the dominant story here in our tiny little town, tiny track here in Martinsville, Virginia. But Ray and Adam, they have been doing their due diligence down below, and they say the rain will stop at 2:30. We're going to hold them to it, and that means we will go racing. We mentioned last time the Truck Series was racing. It was in Las Vegas. Thor Sport Racing finished 1-2. Johnny Sauter was the winner. He's won races before in the Nationwide Series, but it's been a long time, and he's never won in the Truck Series until that race. And listening to him on his radio, you would have thought he'd won more than a race. You would have thought he hit the jackpot.
I can't believe it! Awesome, 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 awesome! I never thought I'd win another race.
You go so long without winning a race that you're like, man, can I even do this anymore? I mean, is this possible? But at the end of the day, you go to bed at night going, wait a minute, I didn't forget how to drive.
We do a burnout? Burn it down. I don't even know how. It's been so long since I won a race, dude.
I hope I don't have to go as long next time before I do another burnout.
Cannot believe we did this. I love you guys so much.
There's something about that where you just keep the throttle down and know that the tires are smoking. That's a very rewarding feeling.
Somewhere amongst the burning rubber, Johnny Sauter learned how to win again. It has been a long 5 years.
Mesita, Wisconsin's Johnny Sauter is going to get his first NASCAR World Series win. Looking low, he hit him. Kenseth up the racetrack. Johnny Sauter's going to come through to the checkered flag.
As quickly as Sauter's career moved forward, it would quickly burn out, coming to a screeching halt in underfunded Cup rides. A 5-year dream with no sleep.
Your whole life, you know, you start racing, you think, I'm going to be a Cup star someday. You know, I'm going to get to that level. So, you know, one thing leads to another. You're a late model winner, and you go to ASA, and then you go to the trucks and Nationwide, whatever, and you get to the Cup level, and maybe you're not in the right opportunity. So you're running 25th, 30th every week, and you're 30th in points. Well, what fun is that? You know, the money's great, and I can guarantee if the money wasn't that great, 20 of them guys would be looking to bail right now. So the driver in you wants to be competitive. You've got to go to the Truck Series to be competitive. Why not?
Today, Sauter works on his hobby in his own garage. But at the end of last year, his hobby was his only paycheck.
Last summer, I was doing starting parks in the Nationwide Series out of this very shop. I was here by myself working on the car, piggybacking with people going to the racetrack, trying to put my car in their hauler and working deals and back and forth. There we go. Had not Duke given me the opportunity, and Matt and everybody at Thor Sport trying to push and help me get into this deal, there's a really good possibility my career could have been over. If you would have told me at this time last year that I was going to get an opportunity to drive in the Truck Series full time, I'd have probably told you were crazy.
Now a rookie in the Truck Series, Sauter, with the help of his teammate Matt Crafton, relearned how to race and how to win.
We go to Daytona first race, and you're used to running 500 miles. Next thing you know, it's 200 miles, and you're like, wow, you know, this race went by fast. To get where you want to go with the trucks and the way that they race, with the downforce and drag and all that stuff, you've got to be aggressive. I've seen Matt do it earlier in the year, and I'm like, man, how does he do that? So the last couple weeks, I've been making some more aggressive moves, and it's like, well, that's not so bad.
3 wide again. Johnny Sauter to the outside, trying to take the position.
position back.
We had speed all year, but a lot of times we weren't able to put it together. We had some mistakes, engine loss one race, and just things that are, kind of out of your control. But I think the biggest thing that we've done this year is brought in a new crew chief that I've worked with in the past. Brought in Joe Shear Jr., and since then, it's been pretty unbelievable.
I'll tell you, this team, from the time Joe Shear Jr. came aboard, has been on fire.
I forgot how much fun racing really is when you're competitive.
We are going to party tonight, boys.
For me, winning, being competitive, that makes my days and my weeks and my years a lot more enjoyable.
Great story for ThorSport Racing and Johnny Sauter. Here you see Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter's numbers, career numbers with ThorSport. That was Johnny Sauter's first win in the Truck Series. Adam?
And 3 weeks ago, you got that first win in the Truck Series. That's the good news. The bad news is some time off. You guys still feeling the momentum?
I think so. I mean, you could look at it a million different ways, but we think we utilized the time properly to try and get ready for the last 5 races. So we tested a couple times at Sandusky to try and get ready for here. So I feel good about our Curb Records Fun Sand Chevy today.
Talk about the growth of ThorSport Racing, and the rumor is you guys are all back together again next year. That's got to be satisfying.
It's a big deal, obviously, for myself and Duke and Rhonda Thorson to give me the opportunity to race something full time, and we get, like you said, to get to make a run at a championship next year. That's pretty exciting for me, and I'm just super proud of all of my guys on this team and how far we've come. I mean, we started out at the beginning of the year and we were off quite a few places, and we just every week got better and better, and to finally get our first win, hopefully it's the first of many, and it's kind of raining here a little bit, but I feel really good. I feel like we can win a handful of these last 5 races, and I haven't felt that way in a long time.
Solid in 2009, a 2-truck juggernaut in 2010. Krista?
Well, Adam, when there's activity on the track, that's where you want to be. When there's rain like we have now, this is where you want to be.
Excuse
in
me.
the hot dog stand. Oh,
Excuse me.
what yes, sir?
I'd like one with relish and with chili, but no mustard, please.
Okay, hold on, because I don't know where those are located, but I know I can give this gentleman, because I had this waiting for him. He ordered this. Wait, now, so go ahead.
I noticed
I want to
that-
see. Do you care if I unwrap this?
I noticed-
So we're going to get Ray's. We're going to get Ray's in a second.
Yeah, see, that
Oh.
one has mustard on it.
That's the all the way, right?
It's all the way, but
All
I'm
the way.
not a big fan of the mustard.
So we got on there, what, the chili, the mustard,
And the slaw.
and the slaw, yep. And wait, you got to show us the color. The color is the best part, right, Ray, of the Jesse Jones hot
and-
dog?
Well, the color and the taste. See, that's the deal.
I love it. There you go. Thank you very much.
I noticed that all of our
What else? What do you need?
all of our people that are preparing the food here have rubber gloves on, and our server doesn't.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to mention that. He signed a waiver before
Okay.
he took
Can I
his
get
dog.
my hot dog?
Yes, I'll get Ray's hot dog. We're gonna have a lot more hot dogs and a lot more stories. Forget about a paper cut at the paperclip. With those things bright pink, indigestion might be the word of the day. The sun's coming out. We are gonna go racing. After I get Ray his hot dog, we'll wrap up the setup. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series setup is brought to you by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you want to pay. Go to Copart.com today. And by Camping World's Destination Recreation Sweepstakes. Log on to campingworld.com/racing. This is the last week to enter for weekly giveaways. This week, win one of 5 Honda generators.
Next week, we go racing on the scariest day of the year at one of the scariest tracks on the circuit. You saw what happened last year when the trucks raced on Halloween. You won't believe what happens this year. The setup goes trick-or-treating at Talladega, live at 3:30, only on Speed. Be there.
That's right, the trucks in Talladega racing on Halloween. As you saw there, you never know what we might do, so you better tune in to see. But we still have some tricks and treats still to come this weekend. Nationwide Series racing in Memphis today. The trucks warming up this track for the Sprint Cup Series tomorrow afternoon. And we have actually relocated. We are now out on the track where the teams are starting to prep. As you can see, trying to dry off the pit stalls and get things ready to go. You hear the jet dryers out on the track. Activity is brewing. The sun is out. Ray is eating his hot dog. The teams are getting ready. We are all set to go. Will this be Hornaday's day, or will his boss, Kevin Harvick, leave him dreaming another time? The Truck Series, the Kroger 200 on Speed. It's going to dry out, and we're going to go racing next.
Truck Series was built for places like this.
It's a short track. You hear veterans talk about how difficult this place can be.
The biggest little track on the circuit.
It is tough with 36 trucks around a half-mile oval.
Definitely some close quarters racing, to say the least, coming down the front stretch.
It's hard on brakes, but even harder on patience.
In mid-pack, it is hot and heavy and getting physical.
Less talking you guys do, the calmer I am.
Short track with even shorter tempers.
Extremely frustrated, extremely angry on the radio.
Hey, one thing, I ain't scared. Ain't scared at all.
And what goes around
It started with me, obviously, but, it's pretty pathetic.
always comes back. Welcome to the Kroger 200. Now on Speed.
And welcome to Martinsville, Virginia. It is the 21st race of the 2009 season. Welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Kroger 200 on Speed. We're hoping that the rain has let up now. At least the track is being dried. We've got jet dryers out on the racetrack. Krista hopefully is drying off a little bit. We've got Adam Alexander and Ray Dunlap. They're down on pit road and back in the garage area. So we want to find out what is the story other than the weather right now, Ray?
Well, Rick, the last bite and a quarter of my hot dog is part of the story. But in all honesty, the weather is clearing up right now. The wind is catching up pretty good down here, and I don't think it's going to take that terribly long to dry this track. They've got the jet dryers out onto the racetrack, and of course we've seen all the crew guys out trying to clean off the pit area right now. So if this is the end of our rain, we could easily be racing on this track in less than 1 hour. That's the good news. A short track with the blow dryers out there, they'll get this track ready to go in a big-time hurry. Adam?
That the good news. The bad news, if there is some, Ray, the fact that there's one more little cell down to the southwest of us that could hit in the next 10 to 15 minutes. After that, we look really good from a radar standpoint. And when we do go green today, Johnny Sauter rolls off in the 9th position. There's no driver hotter than in the Truck Series than number 13. He won a few weeks ago at Las Vegas. His first win in Camping World Truck Series history, and we just heard from Johnny a few moments ago. He has signed a contract. He will be back driving that truck in 2010. That good for him and good for the sport. Rick?
Thank you so much, Adam. Joining me now, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip up here in the booth. Obviously, it's dry here, but we've had showers that have continued since this morning. They're going to dry the racetrack. Once they get it dry, we've talked about grip in the turns and what they can do to maybe help their trucks handle better as we progress with this race.
Well, I think they have to stick it out for a while because they're not going to have any grip early on when the racetrack is green. But, last year in this race, Johnny Benson came in and Ron Hornaday, Johnny Benson put tires on lap 36. Ron Hornaday didn't. And Johnny Benson won that race. Ron Hornaday had the track position. The new tires on Johnny Benson's truck ran him down and passed him and won the race. So the lack of rubber on the racetrack could dictate some of the changes some of the people may make. Maybe not. It's going to be interesting.
I think patience is going to be really key today, Rick. You sat around, you waited for this race. Right. You're a little antsy. Whether you're the race driver out there on the track or you're the crew chief sitting on that pit box, when that driver starts screaming, I hate my truck, I can't drive it, won't grip, that crew chief has got to remind that driver that the track's going to change. The rubber's going to come back like it was yesterday, and you liked your truck then. So let's be patient. Let's be calm. We're going to get you some gas, and we're going to go get us a good finish.
Patience. A 200-lap race at a half-mile racetrack. It's only 100 miles. How can you have patience when you know you've got to get up front?
Patience for like 15 laps. Just give me a little something to start with so I can get my breath, and we'll figure this out. But at the start, you need to really be patient because you've got to make a plan. You might have to change your truck.
Right.
You might want to change your truck, and maybe you shouldn't. So these guys have really got to think.
Now, Skinner's up front, so he starts on the pole. But Hornaday also up on the front row. Hornaday with a 197-point lead. This race is one of the races we've pointed to as a big changer in the championship hunt. Can Hornaday stay in front, and does Crafton have to do something here?
Well, I think he does. Well, I think with the 197-point lead, Ron Hornaday's going to have some problems. And this could very well be one of the places that he would have them. Remember the race we talked about when Ron Hornaday was caught by Johnny Benson? Well, then Ron Hornaday ran out of fuel. Remember, pitted on lap 36 and ran out of fuel before the end of the race. So, just pitting at lap 15 or 20 isn't necessarily going to get enough fuel in there depending on the caution lap. So there's so many things that go into play here, and that's why it's so interesting to watch what the crew chiefs do and the strategy that they try to employ for this race.
Well, what I like is Phil's right. Everybody talks about pit on lap 15 or so and get some gas. But then these teams need caution flag laps after that. 15 doesn't get them to the finish. They need some help. But that's how competitive it is, and that's how you have to make sure you're right on the edge of the line so that you can get in, get that gas, and then hope there's some caution laps so you can make it to the finish.
Well, obviously, we've got a little bit of rain in the area, or it's passed through. They're drying the racetrack. Let's take a look at our Copart point standings as we're waiting for that track to dry. Ron Hornaday with a 197-point lead over Matt Crafton. That's the largest lead that anyone has ever had with 5 races remaining. And Crafton obviously has a big uphill battle if he wants to claim that first ever championship.
Great point battle, though, from 4th back to 7th. Only 90-some points separating those trucks.
And again, the banquet this year, if you're not in the top 5, you don't make it onto the stage. They continue to dry the racetrack. Stay with us here on Speed. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on Speed by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you want to pay. Go to Copart.com today. Brought to you in part by Camping World RV Sales. Visit CampingWorld.com for the best values on towables, and by the Ford F-150. It's not just a pickup truck, it's a Ford F-150. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. If you weren't around to enjoy the setup with Chris Devoda, let's get you reset up with the reset up update. And Krista, you're on pit road now, I believe.
I am, yes. I still have my galoshes on. It's still a little soggy, but there's no rain falling right now. So as they dry the track, we are definitely going to turn laps. It's just a matter of whether we race them or swim them today. But besides the weather, the storylines you need to know for when we do go racing, Mike Skinner, some unbelievable numbers. He's on the pole. It's the 50th time he has scored a pole in his career, and this will be his 200th NASCAR Camping World Truck Series start. By the way, our points leader, Ron Hornaday, is alongside on row 1. Our most recent race winner, it happened 4 weeks ago in Las Vegas, Johnny Sauter. Well, that win did him some good because he is now re-signed with his team, Thor Sport Racing, for 2010. We do want to point out the paperwork was ready to go before the win. That just was kind of icing on the Truck Series cake, if you will. And Johnny Sauter and some of these other guys who are waiting to race today, they may be racing against some international flavor. Formula One's Nelson Piquet Jr. and IRL's Vitor Mira recently took part in a couple of truck tests. They were at Rockingham. The weather there was pretty much like it is here, so they didn't get any laps there, but they were able to go to Motor Mile and get some laps in later that week. So we'll have to keep posted to see if those guys enter into the Truck Series. And I believe Adam Alexander, who, if you missed it, was talking to his people on the phone earlier, and he said the rain would stop at 2:30 sharp. So, Adam, what's your update?
I guess that gives me another hour and 11 minutes before I need to fire my people, huh, Krista? We're here with Stacy Compton. He ought to know what the weather does in this neck of the woods. You're about an hour from home, and a good qualifying run. I know this is a special place for you, and it's nice to have a good truck, I'm sure.
Well, it is. I mean, you know, last spring we had a good truck. Driver messed up and qualified 20th. We got back to 6th, and we knew we were good. We unloaded. I think we were second quick first practice. Second practice, just as good. Good qualifying effort. You know, it's going to stop raining here in a little while. We're going to get to go racing. Safe Auto Melling Toyota is really good. Race trim, I think we were as good as anybody out there. I mean, there's a couple trucks really good, but we're pretty excited about it.
I'm sorry to say a previous commitment kept me from dining with you at your new restaurant on Thursday night.
Well, we certainly invited you guys out. We opened up a restaurant, Olivia and Isabella's in Alta Vista, and it's been outstanding. I mean, we appreciate all the support. It's been we've been open about 2 weeks now, and it's been a wait ever since we opened. So we've been very blessed, and it's been good. We invite everybody to come out. We're gonna try to get you to come out tonight if it ever stops raining.
More hours in the race shop or the restaurant?
I tell you, it's a lot of hours for everybody right now across the board. These guys are doing such a good job in the race shop, building these trucks for us. It's a lot of time spent in the restaurant too, though.
Stacy Compton hoping overtime today in Victory Lane, Ray.
Well, Adam, I'm looking forward to getting up there to Stacy's restaurant and maybe getting away from a little bit of the Jesse Jones hot dogs here at Martinsville. But I want to talk to Eric Phillips because he's crew chief for Mike Skinner. And check out these numbers for Skinner. Today making his 200th start in the series and picked up his 50th career pole. Eric, that's pretty impressive. You guys got to be happy with your results here at Martinsville.
Yeah, the truck's been really good since we got here. Pretty cool to get Mike's 50th pole on his 200th start. That's a pretty impressive stat. I didn't realize how many poles he had in this series.
You know, everybody's talking about the fact that you can pit real early in this race, around lap 20, 25, something like that, and be done for the day. But how much thought is going through your brain right now of saying, wow, it's going to be a very different racetrack after this rain?
That's kind of been my thought all weekend. You know, we knew what the weather was going to be. It looks like we're going to get to race later on this afternoon. A green racetrack. You know, tires were big there at the end in the spring race. You know, Kyle was up front and kind of run out of tires, and Hornaday and ourselves and Kevin got by those guys at the end. So, you know, we're probably going to come later than a lot of them. We'll see what happens, I guess.
You know, when we look at the beginning of this season, Eric, you guys switching over to Toyota, pretty much putting together a brand new race team, and it was a lot of work, I know. But I know I've been talking to Mike and Angie quite a bit this week, saying they're very, very close to putting the deal together to come back and return to this team next year. How much confidence does that give you to know that you'll have these guys together and that you've won races already this season?
That's a big deal. I mean, like here, this is the second time we come here. We're a lot better than we were in the spring when we unloaded. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, Rick and those guys on that 33 truck, they've been together for 2 or 3 years now. Same people, same trucks. It just makes your job a lot easier. When you unload, you're a lot better, so you make it that much better as the weekend goes.
All right, we wish you good luck today. That is Eric Phillips, and of course, real good news coming out of this garage area where everybody's saying that PC Myler and Exide should return next season, and hopefully Skinner too.
Ray mentioned the numbers as the rain begins to pour once again. 200th start will be today, we hope, as the rain will let up and we'll get the track dry. But 50 poles, which is an amazing number. How about top 10s? 128 of those 199 starts, he has finished in the top 10.
That's better than 64%.
I knew you'd be able to give me the percentage. You did the math, you figured it out. Well, I don't know what kind of math we need right now to figure out how to stop the rain, but if Adam Alexander says that it's going to stop by 2:30, they can drive the racetrack and we'll get out there to race. We'll continue to stay at Martinsville Speedway. Stay with us here on Speed. We'll see if we can get this rain to stop, but we'll talk to more drivers, crew chiefs. Come right back.
It's Camping World's destination recreation.
You know, anytime I'm going to make a purchase, I want to make sure that I'm buying the very best quality of whatever category I'm looking to buy. And when you're talking about a tow-behind travel trailer, you can't go wrong with anything made by a company called Thor. Now, the trailer behind me right now is called the Freedom Spirit 180, and at an entry level, this is one of the nicest pieces I think I've ever seen. You know, for me, really, it's all about investing in a quality product, and everything by Thor is certainly that. This camper has everything to get yourself out on the road and have a good time. And you can buy one of these for around $11,900. That's a great deal. But here's the best part. One lucky fan is going to win a Freedom Spirit 180. To register, you've got to go to campingworld.com/racing.
Thank you, Ray. There's quite a few campers, obviously, at a racetrack, and you see a few of them that are out past the backstretch here at Martinsville Speedway. We've got some die-hard fans that are sticking it out as the rain is letting up just a bit, but that means it's got to let up a little bit more and stop before they can put the jet dryers back out onto the racetrack. Now, the rain obviously has affected quite a few people, and I know that prior to Krista going on the air, she had her hair dolled up perfectly. Everything was great, and she went out on the racetrack and had to put a hat on, didn't you, Krista?
I know, all that effort wasted. I don't know if I would say dolled up, but it was at least, it wasn't this curly, I can tell you that. That was definitely Mother Nature's doing. Hey, I thought we'd find any updates. Went down towards turn 4 just to see if the weather's any different. Newsflash. It's still raining down there. I don't think the heavy stuff, though, Rick's going to come down for a while. Hey, just to give you guys, folks at home who have stuck with us through this little bit of a rain delay before we get started, I have inside scoops. I mean, inside knowledge. Ray Dunlap, he tried to get away with getting that hot dog for free, just so you know. But he paid up. And Adam Alexander's people, rumor is they work in the airline industry. So I don't know, Adam, if those are your people. And look, at the wind is starting to pick up a little bit too. The rain is actually letting up. The sun is starting to peek through, but it is getting a little windy. Adam, who have you got? Have you found a driver?
Well, he's not one of my people
Okay.
because he's not in the airline business. He's a truck series driver, Timothy Peters, scheduled to start 11th today. You could just be getting out of bed. You live 15 minutes from here. I'm sure you're ready to go racing.
Absolutely. All this rain, I'm ready for it to go away and Mother Nature bring the sun back out. But after looking at the hot dogs, it's about time to go get a good Martinsville hot dog, isn't it?
My treat, all right? You can come up here and get them all the time, I would guess. How is the truck if we do, in fact, get the opportunity to go racing?
Our strutmasters.com Red Horse Racing Toyota Tundra is pretty good in race trim. We didn't get the qualifying run that we wanted to yesterday, just a little too free in the center, but Chad Kendrick and all the guys on this team are doing a great job for me, and it's just a privilege to drive this machine, man.
It was really fun to watch you on trackside last night. Was that a good moment for you?
It's always cool, and it's fun to be on there with Jeff, Larry, Steve, and this time I got to do it with Elliott because he and I have the same background as far as coming from the late model stock cars. So it's just a pleasure to go on and have the invitation to talk with these guys, and just hope we get it in today, and maybe last night we'll have the good encouragement, and we can get that win today.
I hope we're talking to you after the race today, all right?
That'd be great.
Timothy Peters scheduled to start 11th this afternoon. Rick?
I'm actually going to throw it back down to Ray. He's under a tent somewhere also, I believe. Aren't you, Ray?
Not under a tent right now, Rick, but when you start talking about all the water that's coming down from the sky, it made me think about all the water that these guys are able to pump out of this beautiful fire truck. And you know what? We never spend enough time saying thanks to all the guys that help us go racing each and every weekend. And how about the volunteers that are here this weekend from Ridgeway Fire Department, just up the road here in Virginia, a beautiful little town. And these folks come out, yeah, they're sitting around in the rain right now, but if there's a time throughout the course of the weekend that we need them, they're here for us, and we sure do appreciate it. So a big thanks to all the track workers that are out there helping to try to dry the track, and to all our firemen that are here this weekend. We sure do appreciate it.
It takes a lot of people to put on an event in the NASCAR world, and we're always thankful for all of them. Now, obviously, the rain has come back again. It's let up. It's slowed down. They're going to dry the racetrack. It's going to take at least 45 minutes to an hour to dry this racetrack. So we are going to slip away to a NASCAR performance that will be here on Speed. But guys, I'm sure that we're going to stick around here, and we'll give you live updates, won't we? Michael, Phil?
We're not going anywhere.
Okay.
We're going to be racing here sometime this afternoon, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
And, you know, we saw the line for the hot dog stand. They're forming a line at the Tums stand just next door. We'll cover that booth next. They've decided to market some Tums here at the Speedway. I think that's a good call, don't you?
I believe that's why it's the Tums 500 on Sunday. A little dancing in the rain we saw earlier from Krista. They're drying the track. Stay with us here on Speed. We'll keep you updated as to when the green flag will fly. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway here in Martinsville, Virginia. We're under a rain delay for the Camping World Truck Series 21st event of the 2009 season. Few breaks in the clouds. It hasn't rained for about 20-25 minutes. They're drying not only pit road, but the racetrack is drying well enough that NASCAR is thinking they can introduce the drivers here within the next half hour. So that is positive news. Obviously, we're looking to go racing here still this afternoon. There are no lights at Martinsville Speedway, so we have a time that we have to get this race started. But again, it's a short race, so we don't need as much time. It should take about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes to get this race in. Now, obviously, while you're watching some of the NASCAR performance, we're still here working at the racetrack. Ray Dunlap is down on pit road. And Ray, I think you've got a crew chief you've been talking with, haven't you?
Absolutely, Rick. I'm with John Monson. You know, the first time that he came to this racetrack, I think in '78, and he snuck in the trunk of a car, and boy, a lot of things have happened since then, right, John?
This place has changed so much. It's beautiful to see. It's a great facility. We love coming here. When I was growing up, this was like going to Daytona. You know, with the modified series, we came here 2 or 3 times a year, and it was the biggest place we could go. It was beautiful.
In your career here in the Camping World Trucks, you have won with 5 different drivers as a crew chief, and today you get Kevin Harvick behind the wheel. How happy are you?
I can't say enough about Kevin. I feel very fortunate to have the opportunity just to work with him. And the strength of the organization has made it really easy this week. We unloaded with the notes from what they won with in the spring. With Ernie Cope was a tremendous help, and of course Rick Wren and all the guys in the shop. Everybody's pitched in and really helped a lot, and we unloaded really good, so you know it can only go up from here. I'm looking forward to it.
Kevin won here in the spring, Rick, and of course I was just talking with John about strategies, and a lot certainly could change later today when we go racing. Everybody thinking we'd pit real early, but now tires might be a big deal this afternoon.
Yeah, and amazingly enough, we're hearing changes might be made, tires being made. And remember, in the Camping World Truck Series, you can't add fuel and change tires in the same pit stop. So that becomes another element to the strategy that will take place later on this afternoon when we go green flag. Flag Racing from Martinsville Speedway. Make sure to stay right here with us. The conclusion of NASCAR performance is coming up, and we will keep you updated as to when the green flag will fly. Welcome back to the Kroger 200. Sun beginning to peek through some of the clouds. The fans have moved from under the grandstands to back into their seats, and the track is drying and looking pretty good at that. The jet dryers are on the racetrack. There's actually a little breeze in the area, which is helping dry this racetrack. A little bit unique. You see the concrete on the bottom portion of the turns, just in the turns, and then it's asphalt down the straightaways. But they're working hard at getting the track dry, and Ray Dunlap is working hard at talking with Jeff Hensley.
Well, and down at this end of the track, pretty loud, Rick, because we've got the jet dryers rolling by, but that's all good news. We'll certainly take it. Today, Brian Scott rolls off 5th, and Jeff Hensley, I'm just curious, is the change in the track going to change you and Brian's strategy for today's race?
Well, I think it'll put a little twist on it. Place is notorious when it's green like it is right now for grain and left side tires pretty bad on the first run, and normally we wouldn't have to take tires if everything was like it has been, you know, the cup practice and all that. So I'm a little concerned with left side tires. Right side tires are not an issue, but left side tires will probably grain up. So sometime we're, you know, around lap 35, 40, we come in and get 4 tires and see what happens.
All right, good luck to you today. That is Jeff Hensley. And Adam, just want to let you know, I just heard on the radio down here a couple of guys saying we may be green flagging around 3 o'clock. That's good news.
I'm going to be optimistic and say we got a chance to be green before 3. But anyway, we'll wait and see what happens. You can see NASCAR has ordered the stage to come out. That's where the drivers will go across for intros. That very optimistic at this stage. We've got a little blue sky. And I want you to look along pit road here. You can see there are some dry patches. An hour ago, standing water on the pit lane. Not only is NASCAR and all these safety workers doing their job to make sure we can get this race going today, but each crew member out here doing everything they can as well. These guys want to get this race in today, and once we get the green flag, I think it's going to be pretty entertaining.
Almost like Money in the Bank, or money flowing down pit road. As you were mentioning earlier, there was standing water. It was actually flowing a little bit down pit road, as you saw the dollar bill there. Now, it looks good. It looks like we're going to be racing. What kind of a switch does the driver's mind take now? Do you call your crew chief? Do you sit down with your crew chief? What do you do?
I like what Jeff Hensley says. We got to make sure we understand what these tires are going to do. And that communication has to be done between you and your driver. All he's heard ever since you talked about Martinsville is getting gas on lap 15 and going racing for the rest of the distance. Right. Now all of a sudden, maybe we're going to run to lap 30 or 40 and get us some tires and see how that works out. And that will constantly change and evolve. If one truck pits and the other teams are able to get a look at those tires and see they're fine, then maybe they'll stay with that same plan. I can't wait. I'm like the guys on pit road. This is going to be entertaining.
And Phil, normally we have a competition caution. I'm sorry, I know you had a point there, but normally when rain happens and we haven't been on the racetrack, they'll throw a competition caution. Would you expect that here?
Well, they will alert the crews if they're going to do that. At the drivers' meeting, that question was asked, will there be a competition caution? And they said no. Okay. And obviously we had already had rain by then, so I'm saying probably not. But, you know, it's ironic that Jeff Hensley really made a great point about the left side tires and the tire wear because of the green racetrack. And it's graining the tires, too. It's not really wearing the tires out, but it's just taking like a cheese grater and graining the tire across the tire. But that's one of the teams that the talk in the garage area was they were thinking about going all the way without stopping, period. Nobody's ever done that here. There's been a few guys talk about doing it. Nobody's ever done it. But I don't know that that strategy will work now with the point that Jeff made about the left side tires.
And again, we would need quite a few laps of caution for that to be able to happen if you were going to stay out on the racetrack. Stick around. NASCAR Smarts is coming up. You can watch that, but stay with us because the green flag is going to fly at Martinsville Speedway. The trucks will be on the track. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. The drivers have been introduced. The sun is beating down on this half-mile racetrack, the paperclip, Martinsville Speedway. Welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Kroger 200 on speed. Temperature 69 degrees. Again, a slight breeze that's helping the drying process. They've got the track dry. Now they're working on pit road. But it looks as though after the drivers have been introduced, they'll head to their trucks, and we will get things started with our pre-race ceremonies. And to do that, we go back trackside for our invocation and our national anthem.
For the freedoms of this country, that we can be here to enjoy this race. And Lord, we just ask now for the blessings of safety for each driver, crew member, and official. And Lord, give them the ability that they need to perform to their very best. And we ask all these things in the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Lindsey Bowman, our national.
So the drivers will climb into their trucks, and we will fire the engines when we return to Martinsville Speedway. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you want to pay. Go to Copart.com today. Brought to you in part by Camping World RV Sales. Visit campingworld.com for the best values on towables. And by the Ford F-150. It's not just a pickup truck, it's a Ford F-150. It's turned out to be a gorgeous fall afternoon. We're about an hour and a half behind when we were expecting to hear the command of fire engines. Before we hear that, let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. The sunshine is out, the breeze is blowing, and I'm at the very front of the field. And who is there? Well, how about a surprise on the pole? Mike Skinner. Today is 200th start in the Camping World Truck Series, and he picked up his 50th career pole yesterday. This truck that Mike is sitting in right now is called Chassis 106, and it won 2 races earlier this year. They won at St. Louis, and they also won at at Iowa. With this particular truck, Mike Skinner very confident, and he rolls off from the front of the field. Adam?
And Ray, Mike Skinner, one of 2 3-time winners in the race today. The other, Dennis Setzer. Of course, Setzer driving the number 8 Chevrolet, a vehicle that he's not been behind the wheel of in 3 of the last 4 races in Camping World Truck Series competition. You mentioned Skinner on the pole. Setzer starting in the back because of some issues in qualifying, but that doesn't bother him. One of his 3 victories here when he started 33rd. That's the deepest anyone has ever started and won a Truck Series race at Martinsville. Setzer going to try and rekindle that magic here today. Guys?
Last time Dennis Setzer went to victory lane was at a short track, and he stayed on the racetrack longer than anybody else. Could he try that strategy here today?
Well, I think he may have tried that strategy early on, but not with the rain and the clean racetrack. I think all these drivers are going to think, hey, what happened to the truck I had yesterday? It was so good yesterday. What happened to it? But obviously, I think the rain could change everything. But as you talked earlier, Michael, you get 30, 40 laps in with 36 trucks on the racetrack. That gets a lot of rubber down quick.
Yeah, the track will change in a hurry, and so the guys' trucks will come around quickly. I kind of like Dennis Setzer. I like the position he's going to be in. He's going to gamble. He knows he has to in order to win this race, and that gamble could pay off. Starting in the back, he pits on lap 5 or 10 maybe, or he doesn't pit at all, and he tries to make his way to the front through his strategy. I love the way these guys play this race out. Everybody on pit road has a different mindset of what it's going to take to win, and we're going to see a lot of different variations of that.
Are we going to see someone do just fuel and stay out? Because in this series, obviously, you have to stop twice if you want to change tires and add fuel. Would we see somebody just take fuel and win this race?
I think possibly. And I think definitely we would have seen a lot of drivers and teams only get fuel had we not had this torrential rain we had this morning.
Sure.
But that may change things. But I think it's very possible that we'll see the guy that ends up in victory lane without changing tires.
That the funny part is, just think about the strategy and what's going to happen, but these guys have got to make a plan, and that plan's going to change. It was raining an hour ago. It looked like the whole world was going to end. Now it's a perfect day. Does that change their strategy, just looking around?
Let's take a look now at our ZMAX track description. Again, just over a half mile, 5.26. And the banking in the corners, you guys always talk about, there's no banking in the corners.
It says 12 degrees, but it sure doesn't feel like it as a driver.
I was out there yesterday. I never found it.
It was flat. It
That's
was
right.
like zero, like the straightaways just about.
800 feet on the front stretch and back stretch. And, of course, that curb at either end of the racetrack. 36 trucks will be starting as we look at our Copart race analysis.
You see our pit window. That's 140, 50 laps. That's if we ran green straight laps. Now, obviously, that could change tremendously with the number of caution laps that we see.
Almost $500,000 the purse for this race. So everyone was on the edge of their seats waiting for the start of this race.
Don't you love these guys on pit road? We're going to pit on lap 15 and make it to the end, but we can only run 140 laps. That doesn't add up.
Well, and again, the thing that is the variable there is the caution flags.
And we know those cautions are coming.
We're expecting to see maybe a few caution flags today. Let's get the command. We go trackside.
Time for the most famous words in motorsports. Along with a good-looking class from Carver Elementary in Henry County, our Grand Marshal today from Kroger, Bill Kendrick.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The engines are fired up. You heard some of the kids from the area giving the command. They're waiting to see a great truck race. We've had to wait a few extra minutes, but the green flag will fly next. Welcome back to the Kroger 200. Thank you for sticking with us here on Speed as we have waited out the rain delay. The track is dry. The engines are fired up. The drivers are ready to go racing for 200 laps at Martinsville Speedway. The starting grid is going to roll across the bottom of your screen. A historic day at Martinsville. The 200 start for Mike Skinner, as well as the 50th pole that he has won in the Camping World Truck Series. We want to take a look at a few important drivers in today's field. They will be making their first ever start in the Camping World Truck Series, and they're part of our Speed Spotlight, right?
Hey, I want to kick it off, Rick, with number 12. That is Derek White. He's 38 years old and from Canada. Now, this guy has done all kinds of racing. He's run drag races. He's run motorcycles on the ice. He's running the Canadian and ACT tour. But he's never been to anything quite like Martinsville. Today, he'll roll off hoping to just make a lot of laps and learn something. His next goal, move up to the next biggest track he hopes to run later this year at Phoenix. Adam?
And a similar story for the man starting 35th today in the number 50 truck. Wheeler Boys, a native of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, making his Truck Series debut. He has 2 nationwide starts in 2009. He's a 4-year veteran of the Canadian Tire Series. He hopes to race here, also adding Phoenix and Homestead to his schedule. And of course, next season he would like to run for Rookie of the Year in the Camping World Trucks. We'll see if it all pans out, Bill.
Adam, I want to take a look at a third-generation driver. That's Bert Myers right there. Remember the names Billy and Bobby Myers? That was Bert's grandfather and great-uncle. His father, Gary, actually raced in the Sprint Cup Series back in the 70s. Bert's a modified star from nearby Walnut Cove, North Carolina. He's also racing the Wheel and Modified Tour finale tonight at Asheboro, North Carolina, where he's third in points. He wants to thank Pat Winstead, Capital Bank, and especially Bobby Dowder and Butch Miller for this opportunity. He's a 3-time champion at Bowman Gray Stadium. This year he finished second points. Who did he finish second to, Michael?
He finished second to my guy, Bill. I got Tim Brown in the number 08 FastWax.com Chevy. FastWax is a full product. You spray it on, wipe it off, your car is wax. You don't have to mess with it. Listen to this. She said he finished second. Your guy finished second to mine. He's an 8-time Bowman Gray Modified champion. When I think about tough guys racing on the Saturday night, I think about Bowman Gray. And this man's been the champion 8 times. He has 155 career wins and loves this opportunity. Is so happy to be behind the wheel of a truck here at the NASCAR Camping World Series in Martinsville. And you know what else I like about him, Phil? He's the director of suspension at Michael Walker's Racing. Well, how about that? His day job's over at my place.
And he's not the wide receiver for the Raiders, though.
No, but he's fast like him.
Take a look at our onboard cameras. Kevin Harvick will start third, so he is just behind, well, our pole sitter Mike Skinner will have a vantage point of that. We'll see if Kevin Harvick can get to victory lane once again. He was there in the spring.
We're also going to ride along on the Lumber Liquidators on board. That would be the Toddley, Todd Bodine. He starts 8th. That's a look from the front of his truck, and I don't know if that look's going to stay the same. I mean, we might knock that camera off.
Another truck we're going to be riding along with, our man Hermie Sadler in the Virginia Lottery truck. He had a start up at Bristol, ran solid, top 15, top 20 finish. He told me just before the race started, I want the same thing. I want to run all the laps, and I want to get a good solid finish. We'll get some good pictures out of Hermie's truck.
Kyle Busch normally piloting the 51, but since he is in Memphis, that means Denny Hamlin will go behind the wheel of the 51 for Billy Ballou Motorsports. We'll see how he does. We'll ride along with him in today's race.
We're also going to ride along with our second place man in points. That's Matt Crafton. Remember, he finished second at Las Vegas to his teammate Johnny Sauter. He's going to start way back in 22nd today, and he may have to employ some pit strategy to get that number 88 Menard Chevrolet to the front.
We've heard from Adam Alexander and Ray Dunlap quite a few times tonight, but I don't think we've exhausted all of their thoughts. Let's get a couple before the green flag flies. Right?
Well, Rick, we always like to talk about arithmetic, so let's throw you a few numbers on Mike Skinner. As I said, 200 starts, and how about 50 poles? That's 1 in every 4 races. But if he gets a top 10 today, Mike Skinner will get his 150th top 10 in 200 starts. That's absolutely amazing numbers. And here's the good news for Randy Moss Motorsports. Mike Skinner will for sure return to this team in 2010. Adam?
Another man who knows where he'll be racing next season is Johnny Sauter, coming off that first career win 4 weeks ago today at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. After he won at Vegas, he said, "I can't believe it. I would love to hear his reaction if he's able to go back to victory lane today." And they believe they have a truck that can do it. The same vehicle that had mechanical problems here in March, but recovered to be one of the best trucks on track it races in. Sauter starting 9th after a loose truck in practice yesterday and qualifying. He feels like he's got what it takes to be there at the end this afternoon.
Field in line behind the pace car. You see the light still flashing on that race car. That means they won't see the green flag this time by.
This racetrack really needs some heat in it. You need some heat in these tires, so I think NASCAR may be giving these guys an extra lap to get some heat in those tires, and obviously you got to warm the brakes up, because when you get to turn 1, Michael, you better be able to stand on those brakes and get those things whoa.
You know, I love if you're just tuning in to Speed to check out the trucks, you're thinking, why are these guys talking about the track? It looks perfect. It's a beautiful day there. This track is more sensitive to change than most. When the rains came and washed all the rubber away, a lot of the setups that the guys were running on yesterday when practice ended, they're going to be a lot different when this race starts. So there's going to be some tension. We talked about patience and needing to make sure that the crew chief tries to keep the driver calm when he's complaining about his truck here in the early going.
Now, obviously, this is our 21st race. We want to look at the big picture. Through 20 races, our point standings in the Copart point standings. Ron Hornaday with a 197-point lead over Matt Crafton. That's the largest lead with 5 races remaining that we've ever had. But can Ron Hornaday hold on to it and win this championship?
Well, we've got this week here at Martinsville. Anything can happen here in Talladega. Certainly, that's another big unknown. So if he dodges these 2 bullets the next 2 weeks, then I think he's in obviously pretty good position. But we have a great point battle from 4th back to 7th, and we talk about it all the time. The banquet in Florida, only the top 5 get on the stage.
1 to go, guys. Flagman showing the competitors going to go green next time by.
And that is a welcome sight after about 2 hours ago when the rain was just pouring down onto this racetrack, and now the sun is beating down.
You know, when you win the pole here at Martinsville, you get to pick the best pit. You get the best starting spot right there on the inside. You would think leading this first lap might be a breeze for Mike Skinner. Look out to the right. He's got Ron Hornaday. And Ron Hornaday, I guarantee you, plans on leading this first lap.
And that's the 10th time that these guys have started 1st and 2nd.
Ron Hornaday leading all of the drivers with bonus points this year as well, for not only leading a lap but leading the most laps. So he has accumulated quite a few points in that way. Over 125 points in bonus points. Matt Crafton, who's 2nd in the point standings right now, only 40 bonus points. So we'll see if they can get that to change later today. Matt Crafton's going to want to be out front, but right now leading the field to the green flag. It'll be Mike Skinner and Ron Hornaday. Green flag's in the air. We're underway. Door to door as they go down the backstretch. Ron Hornaday has about a 3/4 truck lead over Mike Skinner as they go into 3 and 4. We'll see if he can hold on to that lead and lead the first lap. Sure enough, it's Ron Hornaday leading lap 1.
That was huge. Great battle back there. Look at Denny Hamlin fighting on the outside, trying to pull up alongside Skinner, but here comes Harvick on the inside.
Kevin Harvick, our most recent winner at this racetrack. He won in the spring.
Hamlin's hanging tough on that outside groove. Hornaday proved that you could lead the first lap from the outside. Then he said, that looks fun. I think I'll give that a whirl.
2 and 3 wide behind him as they go into turn number 1.
Great battle for third right now, continuing between Harvick and the 4 Bounty truck and the Miccosukee Toyota of Denny Hamlin. Looks like Harvick has it for now. Ooh, look at Skinner get loose.
Skinner sideways coming out of turn number 4. We saw Brian Scott come into the picture now as he gets all over the back bumper of that 51.
This track's all about momentum too, guys. If you get a little bit sideways off, the guy behind you's got his foot on the floor. He can eat you up in a hurry. You can see that Harvick closed right on the back of Skinner when he did that.
David Starr on the inside, Rick Crawford in the 14 just in front of him. Right behind him, Timothy Peters in that number 1 this week.
Crawford, David Starr, both former winners here at Martinsville.
They run nose to tail as the field begins to spread out. 6 truck links between Hornaday and Skinner now, first and second. Now they're door to door. Denny Hamlin to the outside, and Brian Scott takes the position away.
Yeah, Brian Scott is making his move up now. Got that spot from Denny Hamlin.
He was real fast in practice yesterday, had a solid truck, liked what he's got, drives around Denny Hamlin, and Denny knows how to get around this track. So good sign for Brian Scott early in the going.
Starting to see them spread out a bit. There's that familiar 88 of Matt Crafton way back in the field.
Here's a 17. Now that's not Timothy Peters. We're used to seeing Timothy in the 17 truck. That is actually Peyton Sellers with the team that Timothy used to drive for. Timothy's in the 1 truck today.
Max Pappas in the Geico number 9 Toyota Tundra as well. Back there running with Matt Crafton. Adam?
And you guys talk about Matt Crafton, and he has moved up a couple of positions in the early portion of this race. He actually finished second here a year ago after starting in the 24th position. So this team is confident they can rally from the back. And the one other piece of optimism for Crafton, the conditions of the track. They fought tight yesterday big time with rubber in the track. They felt like with the rain that we got, no rubber in the track, it could favor the handling of their race truck, Ray.
Denny Hamlin came on the radio and said, I'm pretty tight. Crew chief responded with, give me a number. Denny's reply was 4. I'm assuming that's a 1 to 10 scale. 4 tight for the 51.
Denny Hamlin starting up in the 4th spot. Denny Hamlin dropped back just 1 position.
Take a look at Denny Hamlin just a couple moments ago there. Tries to get that truck turned in the center. Gets a little bit loose right through the center there. Really trying to grab hold of that steering wheel and physically make that truck turn.
Well, that's what you get into, Phil, here. If the thing won't turn, you gotta muscle it. You gotta turn those front wheels to try to make a turn, and sometimes the back won't hang on. So even though it appears to be loose, it's actually pushing that starts his problem.
Great view from the Lumber Liquidators on board. Worrying that Peyton Sellers' 17 truck may have a tire going down. Right sides look up. Definitely left rear tire down on the 17 truck.
Left rear down for Peyton Sellers. He's going to try to get onto pit road now as he moves to the inside of the competition, and he'll make his way onto pit road.
There's the commitment line. He just went across the commitment line. Tough break for Peyton Sellers. He's going to lose at least 2 laps here, maybe even 3. Adam?
And as you mentioned, a tough break for a Virginia kid with a lot of optimism. This actually the premier motorsports team that Timothy Peters used to drive for. We've seen them over the years, had a lot of success at this track. You know the equipment is good. Jason Overstreet, the crew chief, but if you have to make a green flag pit stop at Martinsville, your day pretty much done, and they're spending a lot of time getting that tire on. Tough break for Sellers.
So again, a left rear tire goes down for Peyton Sellers. He has to make an unscheduled stop. Side-by-side racing. Johnny Sauter's all over the back bumper of the number 50 of Wheeler Boys.
Wheeler couldn't get out of the way. There wasn't anywhere to go. There was a curve to the left, a truck to the right. He was in a bind, and Johnny Sauter did a good job of minimizing the damage, minimizing the loss there by squeezing to the outside of Wheeler Boys.
Woeing it up. He did it awfully well.
Johnny's going to pull back to the inside of Stacy Compton in that Melling Toyota.
Good racing all throughout the field. These guys are battling hard.
What we talked about, Johnny Sauter obviously are winning the last race we had at Las Vegas, but that truck, top 5 finishes the last 5 races, probably had the best truck at Loudon, which was 2 races ago, and ran out of fuel late.
One thing Stacy Compton is faced with right here, Phil. Look, there's a big gap ahead of Stacy Compton, and look at the trucks lined up behind him. He's holding this pack up. He knows that he's getting ready to get bounced around because these guys can't wait any longer. Johnny Sauter gets to the inside, but he can't do away with Compton.
Those two stay door to door, and right behind him, David Starr might be getting a little impatient in the 24. How about Rick Crawford all over the back bumper of David?
It is really lined up. Look at all the line of trucks right behind Johnny Sauter now. They're going to try to use up Stacy Compton.
That's 7th through about 15th or 20th. That's how deep that line was.
This is the battle for 4th on the right side of your screen. Brian Scott and the 51 of Denny Hamlin.
Getting a report that the 24 truck of David Starr may be pushing a little water out, maybe overheating early on. They may have to take some tape off that grill, and that may necessitate a pit stop, maybe even earlier than you want. Now, hey, we've run 18 laps now. Remember the magic number we talked about prior to the rain was 15 to 20, when a lot of guys felt like they could get there and get enough caution laps to get to the end.
We're hearing David Starr saying it's really bad. It's shooting a lot of water.
Yeah, you're trying to figure out how much tape you can put on the front of these trucks, Phil, just for some aerodynamic help. You know, if you can put a little tape on there, that'll pin the front end a little bit better. Battle for second, Harvick around Skinner.
Most of the people in the garage area said Kevin Harvick appeared to have the best truck in our 2 practice sessions yesterday. He's making his way towards the front, and guess who's leading the race?
Imagine that. It is his driver, teammate, Ron Hornaday out in front.
But action's fixing to pick up for Hornaday. He's got to the end of the field, lap traffic ahead.
Now, when your boss tells you, hey, move out of the way because I think my truck is better, do you do it when you're the leader?
If he's my boss, I do.
Well, we saw that in Loudon earlier this year where he wanted to get by Hornaday to go after Kyle Busch.
We're not sure how that works now, Rick. we'll have to stay tuned to see what happens.
There is your race leader, Ron Hornaday. He has been out front all 21 laps that have been completed at Martinsville. Under the sun at Martinsville Speedway. Thank goodness for that. Hornaday in front of Harvick, Skinner, Hamlin, and Brian Scott. Stay with us. We'll be right back. More on Speed. Tomorrow, NASCAR Race Day is here in Martinsville. Casey Kane will join us live. Plus, we'll break down who is going where in 2010. NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot live tomorrow, 11 Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Be there. We stay green at Martinsville. Remy Sadler in that Virginia Lottery number 48 just went a lap down to our race leader, the 33 of Ron Hornaday.
Coach Peyton Sellers, remember he had that flat left rear tire. Actually got penalized for having too many men over the wall, so he had to make yet another pass-through pit stop.
He had a guy with a gas can, and they were changing the tire. They don't know the rules.
And that is a no-no.
Right up lap. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll just say, sometimes when you get a truck thrown at you in a hurry, you forget the rules.
Right.
Well, Rick, I wanted to give you a little update on our leader, Ron Hornaday. At lap 14, he came on the radio and said, guys, I'm really, really loose in and loose through the center.
Oh,
so he made an
on
adjustment.
The track, right?
Oh, I see 07 has crashed.
Burt Myers in the 07 into the wall. A lot of damage to the back of that race truck.
Tough break for Burt. That was my spotlight. A little damage to the left rear corner. You see the Wyatt and Winstead foundation on the quarter panel.
Oh, things are getting ready to get exciting. We know that most of these trucks are going to come to pit road right now, but will they come once or will they come twice?
That will be the big question. Again, you can't add fuel and change tires on the same stop, so we'll see. We're seeing guys getting ready with tires here in the fun sand pit.
Remember last year, Johnny Benson took tires on lap 36. A lot of guys only fuel, and Johnny Benson came back, passed them all, and won that race.
Now, potentially, if we don't have enough caution flag laps, fuel mileage comes into play. Would you change tires first and fuel later so you get maybe a couple extra laps? Is that a possibility? you guys,
question.
Hey, you aren't supposed to look at me with that question mark.
Look. Pit road was open. Ron Hornaday went right on by.
So did Harvick.
Yeah.
And Skinner Three trucks that were on the lead lap we were expecting to be on pit road.
They must not have felt like they've got enough cushion. I was talking to Rick Wren. He said 35 is my line in the sand. Lap 35, we're on 33 right now.
But I like what Rick just said. That's smart. What if I got tires now? And just come in once, get my tires, and then get the fuel later. They just don't want to give up the track position. Maybe they're confident in their tires. Or do you think if you wait until lap 40 or 50 and you can get tires and gas then?
The big question. Adam Alexander.
Johnny Sauter is in. He questioned getting tires here. Joe Shear Jr., the crew chief, came back and said, yes, we are getting tires. Put 4 on. We'll come back for fuel and a chassis adjustment. He wants more grip. Ray?
All the way out. Down on my end, we've got Brian Scott putting tires on his number 16 for Todd Bodine and the 51 of Denny Hamlin. It was fuel only. Looks like fuel only for David Starr also. They'll all exit off this end of pit road, but Hornaday thought it was too early to pit.
So Hornaday stays on the racetrack. Denny Hamlin won the race off of pit road. Todd Bodine behind him. David Starr moved up a spot. So we've got 3 trucks that stayed out in front of the field or stayed on the racetrack when we saw quite a few come onto pit road.
Johnny Sauter, Matt Crafton, Jason White all returning to pit road for their second round of pit stops.
Timothy Peters also.
So Rick Wren on top of the pit box for Ron Hornaday has made the decision that he will stay out. Adam?
And that a little bit of a scary situation, but we'll see how that strategy pans out. Meanwhile, Johnny Sauter came back down pit road. He was able to get his fuel, a chassis adjustment, and pull away. Tires or track position, we'll see which benefits later on. And there's plenty of tires for all these guys. So if the ones who came down and got tires here, they would have an opportunity to come back later on for another set of tires.
Well, I don't see that working. Man, this is intense. What are these guys going to do?
That may be just enough for Matt Crafton. Remember, we talked about he needed to do something with his poor start. Started back at 22nd. He has track position right now because he knows everybody still on the racetrack that hasn't pitted is more than likely going to have to come down pit road.
The reason why we're under our first caution, the 07 gets spun around and into the wall.
And no contact from behind. James Busher, the tip truck, was right behind him, but no contact there.
They were awfully close.
So they did work on the left side of that truck. Now they're changing the left side tires, trying to pound down some of the sheet metal on the back of that race truck.
Might have tried to hop down in that corner a little harder and got his back wheels a-hopping, the wheel hop, and turned him around into that outside wall.
The body damage to this race truck not going to affect it. This is not an aerodynamic track, but the potential of it rubbing on a tire could. So they've got to make sure that there's no tire rub on that 07 before he goes back out.
They have enough time to do that right now. We're just now getting the one to go. Ray, what's going on with Hornaday's bunch?
Well, Phil, I was starting to tell the story there before the 07 crash that Hornaday was loose in and through the center, and he had made a brake bias adjustment that really helped his truck. He liked the way it was rolling through the center for sure, but Rick Wren told him stay out. He says, I don't think we're going to get nearly as many cautions in this race as everybody else is expecting, so that's why they decided to stay out and not come for fuel. The next time they pit, more than likely it'll be fuel only.
Check that out. Making sure we got enough gas. 88 came in, got him a little shot of gas. Now he's going to be just off of pit road when the green flag flies, so he's going to have to watch going a lap down. And you know how costly that'd be for that team racing for this championship.
Horrible.
Aaron's lucky dog goes to Hermie Sadler. He is a lucky dog, isn't he, Aaron? Green flag back in the air. Hornaday leading the field. Back across the stripe, Kevin Harvick, Mike Skinner, your top 3. Max Pappas in that 9, running in the 4th spot. Denny Hamlin is 5th. Todd Bodine 6th. David Starr, Brian Scott, Rick Crawford, Eric Almirola rounding out your top 10.
Remember, not many of these guys stayed on the racetrack. Obviously, Hornaday, Harvick, Skinner, 3 of the guys that stayed on the racetrack, as well as Max Pappas.
Max is currently up in the top 5, running in 4th. This is a learning process for Max. We've seen him improve every week, and he's got a solid top 5 going right now due to pit strategy. It'll be interesting to see if he's learned enough to keep that truck up there in the top 5.
There's Denny Hamlin right there. Ooh, the Mikusuki Toyota. Just barely avoiding Max Pappas coming off of turn number 4.
And how about Todd Bodine? Again, Bodine has the bumper cam that we're riding along with. How close was that?
Corner, clear. Looked like Denny made some contact with the 84 of Chris Fontaine.
He was all sideways up under Fontaine, hung onto that truck.
Denny's the first truck that has been on pit road. Right now being shown in the 4th position.
Todd Bodine right behind. Denny Hamlin.
Shows you how competitive this racing is. Fontaine's a lap down. Denny's working his rear end off trying to get around. He finally clears Fontaine. Todd hits him.
Short track racing, you have some very close calls. Take a look at how close this was.
Watch now. Watch Max come off this corner. The 9 truck off this corner. Kind of gets forced out of the throttle when Chris Fontaine comes up. Denny does a nice job of avoiding Max.
Yeah, Todd Bodine was within a couple inches of running into the back of that 51. We ride along with Todd Bodine. This is again from the front bumper of that number 30 Lumber Liquidators Toyota Tundra. That does not look like 12 degrees of banking in the corner, but if that's what they're saying.
Looks like -2.
Still side-by-side racing. Johnny Sauter on the inside of that number 8 of Dennis Setzer.
There's Timothy Peters, the one right behind him. Dennis Setzer trying to get by Chris Jones in the 87. Remember, Johnny on pit road twice that time, so he has fuel and tires.
You can see the bright yellow truck. That's Matt Crafton. He's just caught the back of the field. He's got a long way to go, and those leaders are bearing down on these guys.
Trying to get by the 08, the fastwax.com Chevrolet of Tim Brown.
He'll get the nose to the inside of that truck, and Tim will move up the racetrack.
There's a 19, Mark Davis, making his, I believe, second start here in the Camping World Truck Series.
Crafton is over a half a lap behind our leader right now, Phil. This is tense time for this team. We talked about this track and next week at Talladega. Crafton needed to make something happen in a positive way. Right now, he's certainly falling way back.
Kevin Harvick runs second to his truck. Ron Hornaday out in front. Ray, what are they saying on the Harvick channel?
Well, Harvick's not very happy with the brakes on his truck right now. He said that they are giving up way too early in this race. He said the last couple times around the track, he's had to mash it completely to the ground. So could be a problem for the Bounty Chevrolet, running in second right behind Hornaday, but not sure if his brakes will make it 200 laps.
So Harvick trying to stay close to the back bumper of his truck, driven by Ron Hornaday. That VFW number 33 that has led every lap from Martinsville Speedway.
Welcome back to the Kroger 200. Kevin Harvick is in the wall on the backstretch, and we're anticipating pit stops coming up right now. Ron Hornaday come on the radio, and he said to Rick Wren, I like the way it's turning right now. I'm very happy with it. Don't make any adjustments. But Rick Wren went ahead and made just a tiny little air pressure adjustment on the left front. The guys will go to work on the VFW Chevrolet. Hornaday, of course, with the very first pit stall here. They're going to put on 4 tires right now. They're able to do that, and coming around the corner, here comes Harvick, also the 5 and the 88. That's going to be tight, but Hornaday leads them off pit road.
So Hornaday wins the race off of pit road. You see the 4 just behind him, Kevin Harvick. It was Hermie Sadler that was into the wall on the backstretch. Those of you that are Kevin Harvick fans, and your heart skipped a beat there. They're coming back onto pit road. We're expecting them to fill these trucks up with fuel. There is the damage to the 48 of Hermie Sadler.
Tough break for Hermie.
He got squeezed into the outside wall. It looked like Phil coming up off 2 and then wound up hitting the inside wall.
Robbie Fuller came along and made some contact.
We're hearing that the 5, the 4, and the 33 all have been told by NASCAR that they were too fast on pit road.
Oh, that's big.
That's big. Those trucks will now find themselves in the back of the field with a lot of trucks still in the lead lap. We still have 21 trucks on the lead lap, Phil.
Right.
Well, these guys obviously will put some fuel in these trucks right now. All of them coming off pit road. Kevin Harvick will roll off first. Hornaday will roll out just ahead of the number 5 of Mike Skinner, but they'll be coming back down pit road, obviously, to serve a penalty.
Yeah, the good news is not very many trucks came back in the second time to put fuel in, so Hornaday and Skinner will not lose much. You see, Rick Wren obviously does not agree with something.
I believe he believes there isn't any way they could speed in that box. He thinks that it was too. There wasn't a timing mark between he and the end of pit road. He thought he could probably go as fast as he wanted, but he was incorrect. They got called out on it. That's why
they're calling now too fast entering pit road is what we're hearing now from the NASCAR officials. Just take a look back at what happened to Hermie Sadler with that Virginia Lottery Chevrolet to bring out this caution. Watch coming off turn 2 there. You see Robbie Fuller, the 7-1, got sideways coming off 2, and then he caught the right rear corner of Hermie, turned him into the outside wall, and then obviously Robbie and Hermie make some contact there towards the inside of the racetrack.
Yeah, Hermie was a victim there. You see that 71 truck hooks him.
Yeah, just got completely sideways. Robbie did coming up off the corner, and he caught Hermie in the right rear corner, turned him into the outside wall. A lot of damage to that Virginia Lottery Chevrolet, though.
That was one of the prettiest trucks here when we started.
We heard Hermie on the radio say to the guys, "I'm okay."
There's another view. Watch this, Rick. You see, watch Robbie get sideways right there, and he just clips Hermie in the right rear corner, turns him into the outside wall.
Puts right along with that number 48 truck.
This is gonna hurt.
Hermie has no idea what's fixing to happen. He doesn't know that that truck is sideways and just hooks him and turns him right into the concrete.
Yeah. Hermie was giving Robbie plenty of room. Just one of those situations that Robbie just got sideways coming off the corner. There's Hermie right there. Good to see him out of that truck. You see his speed hat on.
He's already getting ready to go to work.
That's right.
Hand him a microphone. Hand him a microphone, and Hermie will
he'll report on what just happened
on pit road.
And he'll be on race day tomorrow at 11 o'clock right here on Speed as we restart.
Green flag back in the air. Denny Hamlin out in front in that number 51. So it's Denny Hamlin, David Starr, Brian Scott, Rick Crawford, Terry Cook. They're your top 5.
Something obviously happened to the 17 of Peyton Sellers. Right on the restart, he did not get up to speed, and a lot of smoke out of the back of that Toyota.
Shuts it off and heads back onto pit road. So disappointing for Peyton Sellers. There are a few trucks off the racetrack. Nick Tucker, Wheeler Boys, Brandon Nupp, and then of course Rob Fuller and Hermie Sadler in this most recent caution. They are also off the track.
We talk about tires versus track position, Bill. Denny's lead. Can he win this race, spotting Harvick and Hornaday some 50 laps on his tires? They're back in 17th, 18th spot. They got a long way to go. Will they use up their tires while Denny's sitting out there in the front?
Remember, and Matt Crafton is right now back in 9th. Johnny Sauter back in 10th. Those guys have 35 less laps on their tires. 3 wide right there.
Oh, a little contact. Jay White has to move up the racetrack. Outside of him, Tim Brown in the 08, but everybody comes out the other side.
I'm pretty impressed they made it. Here, we'll try it again.
How about 3 and 4 wide? Let's try 4 wide. That's not going to work.
Mike Skinner on the inside. Makes it by Chris Fontaine in the 84 truck.
Saw Derek White in the 12 move way up the racetrack. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, just to add, Ron Hornaday has a digital set of gauges in his truck, which is supposed to help them with pit road entry and exit. The way it works, it has 3 yellow digits, 3 green digits, and looks like Harvick has a flat tire in the Ford truck. Field going by Harvick. But real quickly, just to add to that, there are 3 yellow dashes, 3 green, and then 3 red. And Hornaday said he had just barely come out of the yellows and into 1 green, that there was no way that he was speeding onto the entry of pit road. Rick Wren said, do what they tell you, go to the end. Harvick with a flat left rear tire.
Kevin Harvick, the winner from the spring race, and now potentially out of contention for this one, because while he's on pit road, the field will pass him at least twice.
Already 1 lap down, not even to his pit yet.
So a disappointing situation for Kevin Harvick as he has to get onto pit road. They've got to change that left rear tire.
And remember, we talk about this being one of the wild cards this week and next week at Talladega. Something like this happens to one of our championship contenders, they're out of it. Obviously, Ron Hornaday would bring those guys a lot closer to him, but if it would happen to Matt Crafton or maybe Mike Skinner, then they would probably be out of contention.
43. Going to lose close to over 2.5 laps just for 1 little flat tire that he got in traffic. Somebody got in the left rear corner, flattened his tire. Now he finds himself 2.5 laps down.
And the bad news is, obviously, 2 laps down. We're always going to have trucks 1 lap down. He's probably never going to be in position for the Aaron's Lucky Dog unless he earns one of those laps back on his own, which is very possible as good a truck as he has.
So Denny Hamlin stays on the racetrack when we see Ron Hornaday and Kevin Harvick and Mike Skinner making their way onto pit road for their stop. Denny Hamlin out in front, David Starr, Brian Scott, Rick Crawford, and Timothy Peters. They're your top 5 at Martinsville Speedway. We've had bumping and banging, side-by-side racing. Will Hornaday and Crafton battle it out on the racetrack? Stay with us. When you dream, do you dream in speed? Introducing the Speed Dream Ride. You'll see new shows, old favorites, have a chance to win an experience you've only dreamed possible. The Speed Dream Ride is coming soon. Presented by Castrol Edge. Find out more at speeddreamride.com. We're under our third caution of the day. It is for debris. Aaron's lucky dog goes to TJ Bell, so he will be back on the lead lap. That means 22 cars on the lead lap here at Martinsville. Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Copart.com, an online auto auction where you control the price you want to pay. Go to Copart.com today. Brought to you in part by Quality Hotels, rates and rooms to put you at ease. Book at QualityInn.com. And by Lumber Liquidators, hardwood floors for less. Field still behind the 51 of Denny Hamlin, David Starr, Brian Scott. They're 1, 2, 3 as they come out of turn 4. Green flag about to go back in the air. We're back underway at Martinsville.
Big restart for Kevin Harvick. He lined up second on the inside line behind Chris Bondane. If he can get by Chris, then he will be in position to get that Aaron's lucky dog. Should we catch a quick caution? No, he's got to earn that lap back. That's right. This first one, he's got to get back on his own.
So he's all over Fontaine because he wants to go up there and get a hold of Denny Hamlin. He needs to race his way by the leaders, get one down so that he can eventually get that lucky dog. You can see he's diving on the inside of Fontaine now. And then after that, he needs to get after these leaders. And you know, if I'm Doug George, that's where I want Denny Hamlin running. I just want to be a truck length or two ahead of the field. I don't want to burn those tires up. I'm going to save them all I can. So when somebody else comes calling maybe later in the race that has fresher tires, his are still able to hold up to the challenge.
And here comes Kevin Harvick right now. And if I'm these guys running 1, 2, 3, I'm not going to put up much of a fight to Kevin Harvick right now. Let him go ahead and get one of those 2 laps back.
Yeah, because we're approaching halfway. We're 20 laps from halfway. So even if he does race his way by here, he's still one down. Then he has to get into position to get the lucky dog. Then he goes all the way to the end of the field. It's going to be a long road to hoe for him to get from the back to the front.
Hey, we're talking about whether Hornaday can get to the front, and he's in 4th position right now, obviously on the lead lap. So for Kevin to be able to get both his laps back and then contend for the win would be pretty far-fetched, I think.
Slide there out of the 5 of Mike Skinner. We saw him coming out of 2 and sliding down the backstretch. Running second, David Starr with an impressive performance. He's been to victory lane before here, right?
And that happened back in 2006, Rick, when you talk about David Starr having an opportunity to win here at Martinsville, in position to get his second victory today. That because they have employed some nice pit strategy. Jason Miller calling his driver down at lap 34, fuel only. That got them nice track position. And what have they done since? Be very patient. They have been telling David, you don't need to worry about leading laps. Just stay where you are, and most importantly, save fuel. Ray?
Well, and right behind him in the number 16, Brian Scott, they put tires on when we had our first round of pit stops at lap 34, and Jeff Hensley says, dude, we are on this horse now, you got to ride it. That means they will not pit again, so he's got to save enough fuel and hope for the right amount of caution laps to make those tires come in and do something good. Now out front, Denny Hamlin in that 51, he did fuel only on lap 34, and he and his crew chief talking over the adjustments they'd like to have. Denny said he'd like to make a couple air pressure adjustments. Doug George says, I'd like to see you stay out.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they go much farther, I think it's going to be too late to pit. So we're only 15 laps right now from halfway. I think they're getting out of the window where they would be able to come in, even get fresh tires, and try to get back towards the front.
Well, we see Hornaday here. He had a pit road penalty. He pitted after Matt Crafton. Matt tried to use some strategy to get toward the front. He doesn't have the truck today to run with Hornaday. He's going to lose some points if they don't do something. They're going to have throw a Hail Mary here, maybe make another pit stop, work on that 88 truck, or he's going to give it all away.
Biggest point lead with 4 races to go was 200.
Still
and that
all
was
good.
when Greg Biffle went on to win the championship in 2000. And he actually was able to lock the championship up before the final race of the season. That's the only time that has ever happened in the history of this series.
Colin Brown runs in the back of Johnny Sauter in the 13 truck. And then Skinner gets in the back of Colin Brown. Skinner's going to move to the inside of the 6 of Colin Brown.
Still pointed the right direction. Here comes Skinner now. He makes the move on that 6. Stays on the inside. Again, Mike Skinner started the race up front. his 50th career pole. But after some pit work and a penalty on pit road, he is mired back in the field in 12th.
You know, coming into this race, Mike Skinner had led almost 600 laps here at Martinsville.
Yeah, very impressive resume at this racetrack. 3 wins. We see a little bit of contact there and almost some brushing up against the wall.
Yeah,
Taylor Malsom on the outside now of Johnny Sauter.
Johnny Sauter used up all the available real estate and borrowed some from Taylor Malsom. Only problem was Taylor was already against the wall. Look at these guys. Man, they're on it.
How about Kevin Harvick? Now he's all over the back bumper of Denny Hamlin, trying to get that lap back. Like you mentioned, he's got to race his way past the leader for 1 lap. He's 2 laps down.
And watch Denny just move over. He knows that more than likely he will not have to contend with Kevin Harvick up front here for the win. So he's going to let him go right now. Probably not put up much of a fight.
But when Kevin Harvick, if he's able to get that lucky dog in a little bit or race his way back on the lead lap, he's going to be in the back anyway. He's able to come and get 4 tires with 60, 70 laps to go. It's his best bet. We could hear from Kevin Harvick again, but I think it's a long shot, like you said, Bill.
And that's when you play the hand you dealt. Kevin had the flat tire, lost 2 laps. Right now, he just earned 1 of those laps back. So here he is right now on the tail end of 2 laps down. If he catches a caution, then he's able to come all the way back around and get in position to get up front to try to get another lap back. But again, then he's going to be running out of time. Then throw the Hail Mary. Come in to get tires then.
Hornaday has battled his way back up to the 7th position. He and Tom O'Dine, you see off turn.
Oh, Johnny Sauter gets turned around. The Fun Sand 13 around in turns 1 and 2, and the caution comes out again.
How bad are we? That's going to be 1 of the laps for Kevin Harvick right there. Now Kevin will be 1 lap down.
And there's only 5 trucks total that are 1 down. And Kevin Harvick will be around those guys, those other 4 in a hurry.
Yeah, and nobody really in his class.
Left rear. Get ready to pit here. Take a pound out of left rear. Take a pound out of left rear.
Okay, pit road is open this time.
The field, the lead trucks are going by. Here comes Crawford. Crawford, the first one to make his way down, and we see Johnny Sauter. Again, that's the spin that brought out this caution.
A little contact from the 5 truck of Mike Skinner getting down in the corner. Here's another view of it. You see Johnny comes down. Mike Skinner already had his nose up there, and around Johnny goes. Fortunately, stays out of the outside wall.
Man, those guys were battling along about the 8th or 10th spot, and it was intense. Look back there and see that from the Lumber Liquidators truck, you could see the truck of Johnny Sauter take a spin. One of the first trucks to pit road was Crawford. He was running in the 8th spot. Now he's on pit road. Here comes Sauter. Adam, what's going on?
Johnny not happy on the radio, and I'm not sure where his disappointment was, with a fellow driver or with a truck, but he definitely wants some changes. Joe Shear Jr. said we will. Air pressure is what they are changing on this truck. They will put on 4 tires, send him on his way. A driver who got 4 on his first stop of the day and rallied back up into the top 10. Going to have to make some more moves to have a chance here today.
So unfortunate for the 13 of Johnny Sauter. The 84 of the Aaron's Lucky Dog, Chris Fontaine, will get a lap back. He will be back on the lead lap. That makes 22 trucks once again on the lead lap.
Get ready. Get ready. Green flag.
Welcome back to the Kroger 200. Green flag back in the air. It's Denny Hamlin in front of David Starr. Brian Scott to the outside of that 4 of Kevin Harvick. Now Harvick is a lap down, but he's trying to race his way back onto the lead lap.
And already the lead truck right now 1 lap down. Remember now though, if Kevin Harvick can drive by these guys in front of him and get in front of our leader Denny Hamlin, or whoever may be leading, and the caution comes out, he does not have to go to the tail end of the longest line because he earned that lap back.
We saw the cross flags when they went across the start-finish line. Kim Lopez up on the flag stand. That means we're past the halfway point.
There's Timothy Peters moving to the inside of the 16.
Oh, into the curve and into the 16 of Brian Scott, but everybody stays pointed the right direction.
There's Ron Hornaday gets to the inside of Brian Scott. Now he's got the Lumber Liquidators Toyota of Tom O'Dine right in front of him.
Ron Hornaday has been to this racetrack many, many times, but has never won, and now running in the 5th spot.
Denny Hamlin's opened up about a 3-4 truck length lead right now. Obviously, there's the lap truck of Kevin Harvick in front of the 2nd place truck of David Starr.
Now just past halfway, Denny Hamlin's going to drive, Kevin Harvick's going to drive up on the bumper of Denny Hamlin. Does Denny race him a little harder this time? Maybe try to keep him that lap down? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant right now. He's going to get the free pass and back on the lead lap. If I'm Denny Hamlin,
let him go.
Let him go.
Don't use up any tires trying to keep him behind you.
Save all. Look at the battle here. Timothy Peters all over the back of David Starr. David Starr won't take too kindly to that. That's for second place. He got roughed up.
The 30 are together. Together, locked horn.
Got him a little bit loose, and so now Timothy Peters takes over second from David Starr. Here comes the 30 of Todd Bodine trying to take over third.
David Starr right behind Timothy Peters. Now Todd pulls to the inside of David Starr.
Todd Bodine, the
Hornaday
preferred
gives
line.
a little bump. Says, I'm in town now, guys.
Here comes Ron Hornaday in the 33.
Remember, Rick Friend told me that got beat last year by tires when Johnny Vincent put tires on. With 3 wide.
3 wide once again as they go through 3 and 4. Max Pappas in the middle. There's that lap back. Kevin Harvick back on the lead lap here at Martinsville.
As you can see, Denny did not put up any fight whatsoever.
Denny's just making laps right now. He's in the lead, but he's really taking it easy, trying to do all he can to make sure he's got something for him at the end. You heard him say he wanted an air pressure adjustment. He wanted to pit. His team wants him to stay out.
Max Pappas bumping into the back of that 87 of Chris Jones. There's Rick Crawford on the outside of the 07. Burt Myers.
Right now, Rick's being shown back in the 14th position. There's Johnny way to the inside. The 07. Burt Myers. There's Taylor Malson makes some contact with Brett Butler, the lone Max truck.
Brett was
by side racing.
Brett was in position to get the Aaron's lucky dog, but now Burt Myers has that. Max Pappas to the inside of Butler. These guys are, doesn't matter whether you're running 5th or 15th, man, you're going to get hit.
And you're going to race hard here at Martinsville.
See Butler up on the outside, holds off Chris Jones.
So Max Pappas in front of this line, and that number 9.
Oh, and then
just in front of him, he's got some action taking place. 3 wide coming out of turn number 2.
There's Mark Davis on the inside. Mark Davis has done a nice job here. Stayed on the lead lap thus far.
You know, amazingly enough, Denny Hamlin has led this race for quite a few laps, and we haven't talked a lot about him, right?
Well, and he really did want to pit. He got on the radio with Doug George there and said, I think air pressure adjustments could help me a lot. And Doug said he had spent a lot of time watching Hornaday and those other drivers, the 5 and the 4 from the back of the field, and he just felt like it takes way too long to get you back up through the traffic. So he advised Denny to stay out. So far, so good. Denny says the truck's turning very well in the center. Now let's get an update on Timothy Peters.
I was going to say, Ray, the one driver he may need to worry about is the one right behind him. Timothy Peters currently running second. They pitted for fuel at lap 34, made a slight adjustment. That's the only thing they've done today. And only 2 things have been said on the radio. One, Timothy said, I'm a little tight. They fixed that when he came down pit road at lap 34. And they also said, you're good on fuel. Other than that, nothing on the radio, and that's a good sign. Peters running second.
And that truck's fast too, Michael. We've been watching the scoring monitor the last 3 laps. That truck faster than Denny Hamlin.
He's not only good on fuel, he's good on the track. That truck is going.
Todd Bodine running 3rd. Ray Dunlap.
Todd talking it over with his crew chief earlier in this race. He said, my truck gets so much better on a long run, but he said on the short run, I just cannot keep up with that 51 up front. So they're hoping that they get a long run to the end of this race. And there goes the 30 through the center of the corner. And guess what? Here comes that VFW Chevrolet right back into the mix of this thing. Hope nobody was counting Hornaday out. Remember, at lap 57, he had to go to the tail end of the long for coming into pit road going too fast.
Nobody ever counts Ron Hornaday out of a race if
we got to
still
spin at turn
fenders
4.
on the truck. A big turn around in turn 3 and 4. The 9 of Max Pappas gets turned around. The 07 as well of Burt Myers, and the caution flag will fly. We saw the 87 of Chris Jones also up against the wall.
There's our Aaron's lucky dog right there, I believe. Burt Myers, and guess what? Kevin Harvick gets that 2nd lap back. Now Kevin is back on the lead lap.
And there's still 85 laps to go.
And Denny Hamlin has led 61 of the laps that we have completed. Let's take a look at why we're under this caution. You see that bounty number 4, same paint scheme from earlier this year when he went to victory lane. Catch up on why this most recent caution has come out.
There's Max Pappas on the inside. Ooh, he runs over the curb, makes some contact with Burt Myers. I said Burt was going to get the lucky dog. He was in position to get it, but when he gets turned around like that, that's not going to happen.
Stacey Compton slammed on the brakes. How about Denny Hamlin on pit road right now?
Wow, what a call by this team. Coming to pit road with just 84 laps to go, Ray.
Yeah, and he just came on the radio and said, guys, my truck is not good enough to win, and that's the only thing we came here for. So Doug George says, okay, let's do it. Come on down. Let's work on it.
And again, they'll do, I'm sure, tires and adjustment here. They probably won't come back down for a second time. Just make the adjustments and tires for that 51.
Well, there's so few trucks on the lead lap now, or on pit road right now, that it really doesn't hurt that much. If you feel like you need a little bit of insurance for fuel, you might as well come back in and get it.
And if I were them, I would, because he pitted on lap 35. We talk about maybe 40 to 50 laps of caution he needs. So far, we're nowhere near that.
Right.
So maybe coming back in, getting a little gas is a good call for these guys. But another guy you see to the right, you see the Ford truck. Harvick got 4 tires on that last caution.
And fuel.
He's probably done pitting. So he's put himself in a better position to win this race than the leader was when the caution fell.
So Denny Hamlin was out in front of the field, but when he came to pit road, he relinquished the top spot. Timothy Peters is your leader at the Kroger 200. Welcome back to the Kroger 200. We were able to get almost a green flag lap in before we come back, and Taylor Malsom has come to a stop in turn number 2, and so they threw the caution back out. So not even one complete lap of green flag racing. Let's take a look at why this most recent caution has happened.
Something happened to Taylor. He went in the corner. It looked like maybe he lost power or something. Just went in the corner, drove up high, and stopped. Could be an ignition situation. Adam, what happened to Taylor?
He came on the radio, Phil, and he said, I missed a shift, and I think I blew it up. They came back and said it won't start, and he said, nope, I've blown the engine. So we'll see if he can bring it back to pit road or what the situation is, but he believes that the engine is gone in that 81. Tough break for him in his second start here at Martinsville.
So a disappointing finish to Taylor Malsom's day. Lumber Liquidators crew watching on as Todd Bodine runs second to the field. Now NASCAR On Speed is always on with NASCAR On Speed Broadband, a free super site for the hardcore fan. Get the best of NASCAR On Speed, plus exclusive videos you can't get anywhere else. Log on now to the video section of speedtv.com or NASCAR.com. There's the 81 of Taylor Malsom, and he said he thinks when he missed a shift, he blew the motor. Let's take a look.
And watch the result of this missed shift. Not only does he blow his motor, but everybody's anticipating that Taylor's going to take off. Kevin Harvick looks to the outside. He's got a great run, gets around Fontaine, but watch when he misses his shift. Whoa!
And you know, people may say, a lot of our viewers may say, well, don't they have rev limiters? Watch Kevin Harvick. Now watch the evasive. You saw the fire off the tailpipes. That's when he missed the shift. More than likely, he has a rev limiter, but when you miss a shift like that, it'll bypass that rev limiter. Kevin did a nice job. Denny also has to do some evasive maneuvers to get by Taylor Malsom.
I like what I'm seeing out of Chris Fontaine today, too. He's all over these guys. He's not giving them any ground racing that 84 truck. Harvick jumps around him on the outside on the start here. Chris really wasn't ready for that. But he battled his way back onto the lead lap. He's having a good run. Watch when Taylor misses his shift. Harvick's got so much momentum. He could have easily got turned into that inside wall when Fontaine hit him.
But Chris did a nice job. He actually had to slam on the brakes as well, so he was on.
Did an excellent job. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway. It's Timothy Peter out in front of Todd Bodine. Ron Hornaday all the way up to the third spot. Johnny Sauter having problems in that number 13 once again.
So that looks like he's got it back up to speed, but is there a right rear flat, Phil?
There it is, right rear, and he's going around.
All the way around he goes. Will that bring out the caution once again, or can he get it pointed the right direction?
He's heading the right way. This is going to be costly for Johnny Sauter. They did not throw the caution. He got his truck going again.
Yeah, I think Johnny probably could have got away with staying right there till the caution came out, but now obviously he's back going, but he still has a flat right rear tire.
He's got to be able to get around 1 and 2.
Whoa,
he's going to go around in front of the field. Timothy Peters makes it by, as does Todd Bodine, and now the caution flag flies.
was just trying to hustle back to pit road, Phil.
He's going to minimize the damage now, though. Obviously, he already lost 1 lap. If he would have stayed on the racetrack, made it to pit road, he was going to lose another 2 laps, so he probably would have been 3 laps down. So, believe it or not, that second spin there was very, very fortunate for Johnny Sauter.
And it might have been planned a little bit.
Well, it could have been.
Can't say.
He said, oh, dang, I should have stayed on the racetrack over there when I won the first time.
He stays on the racetrack this time to make sure he catches back up to the field. Doesn't want to go a lap down under caution.
There he slows down. Obviously, he knows he has something wrong. He goes down in the corner. Then again, see how slow he's going compared to the competition.
But right there at the end of the straightaway, he gassed it up, and he just couldn't hang on to it.
And around he goes, and right here, he probably could have got it. NASCAR will not allow you to intentionally cause a caution, but he probably could have got away with just waiting just a little bit before he moved out, and NASCAR would have had no choice but to throw the caution flag, and he would have been able to catch back up and not lose a lap.
And there's no way, as fast as he's going, to keep from spinning it again. He just did a good job of not spinning it out to where he gets into the wall.
And he's trying hard to keep it straight right there.
And around he goes, right in front of Timothy Peters. Adam.
And the frustration for Johnny Sauter, an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10, I believe. This guy is really struggling and voicing his displeasure on the radio. And I think his frustration here, not only that he has a tire going down, but he was also a little bit disappointed in the fact that he was not made aware on if they wanted him to come down pit road or get caught up first. The good news is he was able to catch up, not tear up the race truck with that tire that had gone down, and now he's on pit road getting right side service. He had rallied back nicely after that spin a handful of laps ago. We'll see if he's got another rally in that 13. They just put on right side tires. We'll see if they come back and get left sides as well.
See a little bit of the damage to the 07. He'll get the Aaron's lucky dog. It's Burt Myers going back onto pit road. They'll make an adjustment to that race truck and send him back out onto the track. Welcome back to the Kroger 200 from Martinsville Speedway. Green flag back in the air. Timothy Peters holding on to the top spot. Todd Bodine runs second. Ron Hornaday looks to the outside for second now.
Not able to do anything. Had a little peek at the outside of Todd. Kevin Harvick restarted this race in the 11th position. Remember, fresh tires for Kevin.
Also for Ron's got better tires than these 2 guys he's racing.
About 20 laps less on his tires than the 2 guys up front.
And Skinner's hanging right there with Hornaday. Good adjustments on that truck when they pitted, because he wasn't as good as Hornaday early, but now he's able to hang with him. Of course, the track's changed. You know, we talked about that the thing would go through a transition. It seems the transition seems to agree with Mike Skinner's truck.
Or maybe the adjustments that his guys made.
Timothy Peters has never won in the Camping World Truck Series. Todd Bodine has never won on a short track in the Camping World Truck Series. And Ron Hornaday has never won on this racetrack.
That's an amazing statistic that Todd Bodine's never won on a short track. He wins all the time, but never been able to pull in victory lane on a little track.
Right behind those 3, 3-time winner at this racetrack, Mike Skinner.
Did you know that Todd Bodine is the only driver with more than 10 career wins in this series that has not ever won on a short track?
You asked me a question, right?
You realize it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I was also being told I need to get it to Ray. He's got something on the 33.
We'll do it.
Ray. Well, Rick, I just wanted to tell you, during our last caution, Kevin Harvick came on the radio and relayed up to his spotter. He said, please tell Ron Hornaday not to do anything stupid up there. If we get a top 5 out of Martinsville, we're about a lock for the championship. Rick Corelli relayed that down to Hornaday. You know what Hornaday's answer was? Sure, he doesn't want me to run hard because he's going to try to come up here and pass me.
We've seen this movie, too.
Wait a minute. Does that mean the communications were getting back and forth from Kevin Harvick to Ron Hornaday now? That was the big question in Loudon. How about side-by-side racing back here in the pack?
Here's David Starr right there. Here's Matt Crafton.
Matt Crafton just drove around.
There's Terry Cook, the Cajun Toyota. Number 25 looks to the inside of the 23 of Jason White.
Jason's falling back through the field. We saw Crafton get around him. Hamlin a lap or 2 earlier. Hamlin and Harvick are working their way back through the top 10. Harvick up to 8th. Hamlin down to that 10th spot.
James Buescher dropping back a spot. David Starr looks to go by him now. Those 2 stay side by side. They work their way into turn 3 and 4.
Looks like the Zachary Toyota able to make the pass.
And you can see Crafton here. They've worked hard on this truck today, Phil, and it looks like they've made some progress. Able to at least be more competitive than he was earlier. We saw him fall almost a lap down early in the going.
They're going to get the award for the most pit stops made today.
Remember, they started back in the 22nd spot, so they have definitely improved on this race truck as he battles for that 12th position.
He's got it. He got by the Max Force Ford of James Busher.
Adam Alexander, what's happening with the 16?
It's been a nice day for him. You know, he made his career debut at Martinsville a couple of years ago. He's never had a top 10 at this racetrack, but they were very confident in coming here this weekend as he moved to the inside of Brian Scott, trying to get into the top 5 for the first time today. Colin pitted at lap 34 for fuel only. They made an adjustment to help what was a tight handling race truck. He came back down for tires at lap 54. They feel good about where they are now. And the man he got around, the 16 of Brian Scott, look who's right behind him. Dennis Setzer started at the tail of the field today, and here he is with just over 50 laps to go, running in the top 10. It's all about strategy. Pit him early, get some fuel, and let him go to work. You can see why he's a 3-time winner at this facility. He simply knows how to get it done.
And Michael, you remember before the show even started, you said, remember Dennis Setzer? We're probably not going to hear a lot about him until he gets to the end of the race. He'll probably be about the top 7. Well, sure enough, top 7 for Dennis Setzer, looking to move toward the front. Right behind him, he's got the 4 of Kevin Harvick. Thanks for joining us here on Speed, everyone. Martinsville Speedway is the site of race 21 for the Camping World Truck Series.
I've been watching Kevin Harvick. He's been behind Dennis here for a number of laps, and I think Kevin right now being shown back in the 8th position, he cannot afford to spend many laps trying to get by any of these trucks if he's going to challenge for that win.
And look at the run that Setzer gets up off the corner. It looks like Kevin's able to gain on him on the entry, but then Dennis drives away as they exit the turn. And you know, it's just finesse. It's knowing how to use that gas pedal, and that's exactly what Dennis Setzer does so well. Is Rick Crawford, he looked down on the inside of Harvick trying to take that 8th spot away.
Got a little slow in the rotors
Crawford
again.
trying to lock up another top 10 finish here at Martinsville Speedway.
The last 5 times here for Rick Crawford, 3/3 and 2/5.
Impressive runs at this racetrack, and he's also been to victory lane. That man has never been to victory lane in the Camping World Truck Series. Lives about 15 minutes from here. How big of a celebration would it be for Timothy Peters to find victory lane? Attention all you Digger fans. Now you can get Digger on your computer and get free Digger videos, wallpapers, games, and more. Visit digger.ask.com today. Riding along with Todd Bodine, that's the bumper cam that you just saw, and in front of him, the one of Timothy Peters, still out in front of this field.
Check out this battle for the 4th spot. Colin Brown's been all over Mike Skinner. He's been on the inside of him a couple of times. Can't quite complete the pass as they lap around the Lone Max truck of Brett Butler.
Skinner was right up on the rear tailgate of Ron Hornaday a few laps ago, and he's lost contact with Ron. You can see Ron just leaving the bottom of the picture, and there's Skinner and Colin Brown in that battle for 4th.
Ron and Skinner were racing pretty hard for the 3rd spot coming off turn 2. Hornaday actually got into the outside wall, hit it pretty good, gave Skinner a chance to look down to the bottom, but it didn't hurt his truck. I mean, it didn't keep him from getting away from Skinner. It might be prohibiting him to get up there and race top with Addison. See the right side tires all skin up there, Phil?
Yeah, that right front tire, all the Goodyear lettering has gone off that tire. That's where he made contact with the outside wall. Looked like Mike Skinner might have bounced off the wall. That time coming off too.
And again, it's Timothy Peters out front, Todd Bodine, Ron Hornaday Jr., Mike Skinner, and Colin Brown. We were talking about Ron hitting the wall. Let's take a look.
Check this out. He hits it pretty good.
Here comes Timothy Peters, our leader. There's Todd, and there's Ron bouncing off the wall. And see how close Skinner is to him right there. But now Skinner's about second half behind.
Look at the ground he loses to Todd Bodine. And here comes Skinner looking at the bottom. Ron blocks him off and has been able to drive away from Skinner, so couldn't hurt his truck too bad. We might talk to Ron Hornaday after this race, and he'll say that that bump into the turn 2 wall with 50 laps to go or so was something that hurt his truck.
Timothy Peters.
Ooh, heavy traffic coming.
Yep, getting into the traffic now. He's got to try to get by that 07 of Burt Myers. Adam Alexander.
And Mike Brooks on the spotter stand just told Timothy, be patient. I will help you work your way through the lap traffic and try to get them out of your way. There is no doubt if there is a place on the schedule Timothy Peters would like to get his first career win, it's here at Martinsville. After all, he grew up in Virginia and lives only 15 minutes from here. And it would be a nice win for Red Horse Racing. The last time they went to victory lane, here in Martinsville in the spring of 2006 when David Starr was behind the wheel. It's been a long time in coming for this race team. Peters has been great since coming over and driving for him in mid-June, and they are in position to get it done here today, 36 laps away from victory lane.
Guys, we don't ever end under caution, but I'm telling you right now, unless we go caution laps for the remainder of this race, that's the only way we're going to get to our average number of caution laps. We've only had about 24 caution laps today, and normally we see 55 caution laps at this racetrack.
Yeah, historically, 55 is the average number of caution laps, so we may have some guys sweating that pitted back on lap number 35 or 36.
Yep. Guys that came in early.
One of those guys that will be sweating is going to be our leader,
Timothy Peters.
Wouldn't you just know it? Here you are this close to your home. You seem to have the best truck. What can I worry about right now? Well, let's worry about whether I've got enough gas or not, because we're nowhere near the average amount of caution laps in that team.
Oh, into the wall. The 87 gets into the wall just on the outside of the one of Timothy Peters. It looked like Timothy was up against him.
He may have squeezed him up there a little bit, and that could have been just horrible for Timothy if Chris would have bounced off the wall and caught him in the right rear quarter panel like we saw Hermie Sadler get taken out. But he's very fortunate that he was able to get by with that one.
Going to dive on the inside of Martin Davis. Martin gives him a lot of room.
Caution has come out. This is the 8th one of the day. They say a caution has come out in turn number 2. A truck got turned around, and so the field slowed in turn 2.
Mike Skinner, you see the sparks underneath that PC Myler Navigator. Oh, he's made some contact with something. We saw him hit the outside wall a few laps ago, but obviously some more contact there.
Looked like the right front tire went flat, maybe, causing him to hit the outside wall.
That's going to move Kevin Harvick up a little bit closer. Kevin did not progress beyond the 7th position when he got by Dennis Setzer.
Take a look.
See Chris Fontaine and the 07 get together. Mike's just trying to get by the 07 of Burt Myers on the inside, and that's where all the contact came from and the damage on Mike Skinner's truck.
Skinner was running in the 4th spot before that happened to the right side of his truck.
We talk about what can happen and take you out of a championship battle. Something like that can do it.
31 laps to go from Martinsville. Stay with us.
You saw what happened last year when the trucks raced on Halloween. You won't believe what happens this year. The setup goes trick-or-treating at Talladega, live at 3:30, only on Speed. Be there.
That was scary.
I'll tell you what, that's throwing up some big question marks right now with me. What will it be like a week from tomorrow? Actually, today we're running on Saturday in Talladega. First-time winners at Martinsville Speedway. Impressive names there in the Camping World Truck Series. Timothy Peters trying to add his name to that list.
And he's been solid on every restart. He's able to just put a couple of truck links between he and Todd Bodine, and really hasn't been pressured since he got the lead of this race. Todd took a threat from Ron Hornaday on the last restart. Ron was able to get up on the outside of Todd, but it's been smooth sailing since he got the lead, and still we're worried about gas, I think.
And he needed those caution laps too.
A great opportunity. Timothy Peters, just 27 laps to go. Green flag back in the air.
All around.
He shouldn't have to worry about lap traffic with just 27 laps to go, but that could come into play.
Right now he's just trying to hit his marks. He knows he has a good truck. He knows right now if he could get a little bit of a cushion, then maybe he could ease off a little bit, try to save a little fuel. Because right now, with the, that fuel is his biggest concern right now, I think.
Now, Todd Bodine is one of the best drivers in the history of the Truck Series. But when he's starting behind you instead of Ron Hornaday, don't you think maybe that's helping Timothy Peters breathe a little bit easier on these restarts? I bet you he's as much pulling for Todd Bodine to hold off Ron Hornaday as he's thinking about him holding off Todd Bodine.
Absolutely, and we know Timothy Peters may have a better truck than Ron Hornaday, but if Ron Hornaday was to somehow get in front of him or Todd Bodine, it's very difficult to pass here. It may not be a simple matter of just driving back by him.
A 3-truck lead already for Timothy Peters. Adam.
And Phil, I know how nerve-wracking it is as a driver late in the race, anticipating perhaps you're not good on fuel, you need to conserve a little bit. I'm nervous down here watching Timothy Peters in the lead, knowing that they got fuel at lap 34, but his crew chief, Chad Kendrick, under that last caution assured me, yes, we are fine on fuel. In fact, they've not even said anything on the radio to Timothy Peters about conserving. We'll see if they make it, but right now they act like they are not concerned at all about the gas gauge.
See right there, Kevin Harvick been able to get by the 16 of Brian Scott to take over the 5th position.
Denny Hamlin moved Dennis Setzer out of the way to take that spot away.
This gets a little bit, ooh, Johnny Sauter, little tail happy off of 2.
Star just behind that 8 of Dennis Setzer. We'll see if he uses the chrome bumper to get by.
Look at that pack of trucks all gnawing on each other, trying to get any spot they can get. Oh, Crafton takes a shot from Crawford as they enter turn 1.
Rick Crawford to the inside of that 88. Matt Crafton coming into this race needed to make something happen if he wanted to challenge for this championship, but it's been Ron Hornaday that has been making things happen as he runs 3rd behind the 30 of Todd Bodine and the 1 of Timothy Pierce.
Mike Skinner was able to stay on the lead lap. Right now he's being shown in the 17th position. Last truck on the lead lap, and this pretty much will put a fork in Mike Skinner's championship.
Because Skinner's now on pit road. Skinner's come to pit road for a black flag. Probably a problem exiting. Something was dragging on that 5 truck. He's on pit road. Mark him off for the championship.
Watch Kevin Harvick now. This is how he took over the 5th position from Brian Scott. A little bit of contact right there. Stays against him. Gets him a little sideways.
Wow.
Up off of 4 and drives by to take over the spot.
What a job of driving by Brian Scott. Gets hit a couple times. Sideways he goes, and the 4 goes right by. Here comes Hornaday all over the back bumper of the 30 of Todd Bodine. That is 4 seconds.
Good corner, clear about car length and a half, clear low.
Listening to the radio there, Rick, but I just wanted to let you know, Hornaday came on the radio moments ago and told Rick Wren, we have nothing for him. My brakes are shot. And Phil and Michael, we always used to talk about brakes here when you were talking about a Sprint Cup race and 500 miles, or 500 laps, I mean. But what about only going 200? Rick Crawford has lost his brakes. Denny Hamlin lost his brakes. The 4's been complaining about it, and now Hornaday says he's out of brakes. It seems really odd that you can't keep a good set of brakes for 200 laps.
Well, you see, Ray, you race your truck for the amount of laps you got, and they're not out of brakes. They're just not as good as they hoped they would be. You put a little bit of tape on the front to help that front downforce. You use the heck out of those brakes the whole race because you know it's a sprint. You expect them to hold up, and sometimes you just use them a little too hard. But you can see Hornaday's all over Bodine for second. He just doesn't like his brakes, but they're still working.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick now is driven up to this battle here, right on the rear tailgate of the 6 of Colin Brown.
Timothy Peters is checked out on second place Todd Bodine. He has almost a 2-second lead over second place. There's the distance.
And obviously Harvick's driven up to these guys. He's got a great truck, but that 6 truck is really strong. All these trucks are being held up by Tom Bodine, but Hornaday hadn't been able to figure out how to get around him yet.
Adam Alexander.
We talk about Timothy Peters and what he's been able to do here today. His experience at this track better than any other. This marks the 11th time he's taken the green flag in Camping World Truck Series competition at Martinsville. And he does know how to win here. No, not in a truck, but Martinsville Speedway, known for its late model racing. In 2005, Timothy Peters was able to win that race. His confidence better here than it is at any other track. And now he's only 14 circuits away. That's 7 miles from victory lane in one of NASCAR's top divisions. And here's Brian Scott coming to pit road. He is out of gas.
This could be indicative of something Timothy Peters has got to look at now, too, because they came in at the same time.
Stopped at the same time, exactly, right now. So I know they haven't talked to Timothy about saving fuel. He has a 2-second lead right now. If I'm Chad Kendrick and said, Timothy, please save some fuel.
Well, Brian Scott's going to be a reality check for all these crew chiefs. As soon as that truck ran out of gas and came on pit road, those radios heated up, I guarantee it.
But just, we're real close, so just, you got about a 5-second lead, so just nice and smooth, roll out the throttle nice and early, and get in it nice and smooth. You're good to go, buddy.
I think he might be giving him a little bit more positive information than what he would expect, but he just said nice and smooth. We might be close on fuel. Now it's a 1.3-second lead as we see Timothy Peters going by the 5 of Mike Skinner.
Well, I think Timothy right now will try to save some fuel, but if he sees that yellow and black Lumber Liquidators Toyota get too close, then he's going to jump back in that throttle, because it doesn't do any good right now to save fuel if you're going to get past.
10 laps of racing to go for Timothy Peters.
There
How about
it is.
this, the 33.
Colin Brown moves to the inside of the 33 in a battle for third.
Colin Brown's going to take third away from Ron Hornaday, so now the 6 moves up into the third spot. Here comes Hornaday back on him. Hornaday all over the back bumper, stays in it when they go into 1 and 2.
Nice block by Colin Brown. He held that third spot. Took it away from Hornaday and then had to fight Hornaday off and wound up with the third spot. And he's been better than Hornaday, like I said a minute ago. If he can drive away, he can put some heat on Todd Bodine.
Now Kevin Harvick right now right behind his teammate Ron Hornaday. Again, this is not for the win. This is only for the third position. Will Kevin defer and give Ron those 5 points?
Less than 8 laps to go. The difference between first and second still 1.3 seconds. The big question mark now is, does he have enough fuel to stay up front for the remainder of this race? 7 to go at Martinsville. Ron Hornaday has dropped back to the 4th spot. Colin Brown up into the 3rd position. Todd Bodine holding on to 2nd, but can't gain any ground on that number 1.
You can see Denny Hamlin's driven up to the rear bumper of Kevin Harvick.
6 to go.
Those guys are nervous.
Chad Kendrick
doesn't have enough gas.
Yeah, like Adam said, we're nervous for them.
How many fingers do you have to cross for good luck for Timothy Peters?
Look at Chad.
Oh, he's got his head down, his hands over his face. They continue to cheer on that number 1 with just 5 laps of racing to go for Timothy Peters, looking for his first win in the Camping World Truck Series.
He just needs to make it about 2 miles, y'all. 2 miles, and he's going to get his first win at his home track.
What he wouldn't give for 1 gallon of gas.
Hey, he might not have enough.
He might not need it. Todd Bodine running 2nd. Colin Brown 3rd. Ron Hornaday is 4th. Kevin Harvick 5th.
What he wouldn't give to know he had enough gas. That's what he wants right now. But it's always something when it seems like when you're coming down to your first win. Can you get to the finish? What's the factors? And this day, it's going to be whether he's got enough gas to go 1.5 miles. 3 laps is all we're talking about.
3 laps remain for the Strutmasters number 1 Toyota Tundra. Can he find victory lane for the first time?
He has a big enough lead right now. All he has to do is just get around here 2.5 more times.
1.6 seconds the difference between him and 2nd. Does he take it easy? The final 2 laps, the final mile at Martinsville Speedway.
He does not want to hear caution on the Speedway right now. We do not want a green, white checkered. He just make it back 1 more time. He knows he can almost coast home from there.
This is it. Coming out of turn number 4. The white flag will go in the air. 1 lap away from his first win in the Truck Series. Timothy Peters makes it through 1 and 2. He has a 1.7 second lead over Todd Bodine. Does he have enough fuel to get through 3 and 4? Rolling through the corner. Coming out, turn number 4. Checkered flags in the air. Timothy Peters will win at Martinsville.
Yes! Yes!
I think Timothy's speechless right now.
That whole team
can't. Smuck, you better get ready. You better get ready, Smuck, everybody.
The 29-year-old lives just up the road in Martinsville.
They couldn't push their
victory lane.
They couldn't push the radio buttons to talk, Phil. They were all screaming with their hands in the air.
His 64th start brings his first win. Wife Sarah making the way to victory lane. The smile on her face, I'm sure, symbolic of the same thing that Timothy Peters is enjoying right now.
He has enough fuel to do a burnout, too.
Chad Kendrick had his face in his hands, not knowing if they were going to have enough fuel, and he's standing by with Adam.
And there are plenty of tears of joy, some nervous moments at the end. Chad, this is your first NASCAR victory as well. Congratulations. How does it feel?
Thank you. It feels a lot. I mean, he did a hell of a job. He really did. truck wasn't perfect. It looked perfect at the end. It would really roll the center good, and it was a little tight off. We started the race, it was way too loose. We brought him in, we stuck to our strategy, we made huge adjustments, and he did the rest. And we thought we were good on gas, and evidently we were, but the guys with Toyota kept coming to us with people getting worse and worse fuel mileage, so we kept backing up the fuel mileage, and it wasn't looking good, so it was getting scary. But oh my God, I've never had this feeling in my life, other than maybe when I met my wife. But this is awesome. It's awesome.
Chad Kendrick told me yesterday they worked really hard on fuel mileage this week. I'd say that hard work paid off. He's going to victory lane, and his first-time winning driver, Timothy Peters, is there waiting on him.
What a great save by the crew chief there. Best feed he's ever had in his whole life, except for when I met my wife.
You know, we worried about the fact when Brian Scott ran out of fuel, we worried that Timothy would. Remember, Brian Scott got tires, did not get fuel on lap number 34.
So how about Timothy Peters? In victory lane, Ron Hornaday, Kevin Harvick outside of their trucks. And actually, it looks like a cordial conversation going on this time, a little bit different from the last time those two raced together.
Nice comeback, though, for Kevin Harvick, getting 2 laps down with that flat tire and fought back to a top 5 finish.
And then Hornaday as well with a pit road penalty. So
let's go to victory lane. Ray Dunlap.
All right. Sarah has come in here quickly for a kiss, tears in her eyes. Timothy Peters and Strut Masters in victory lane at Martinsville Speedway. The crowd all over. The crew is here. Oh, man. Here. Right, that's the way to do it, huh? How about that? Congratulations, guys. Hometown hero. Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Come here, Tom. Come here. I can't thank it enough for this gentleman right here, Tom DeLoach. Myra, come on. Caroline. This man right here gave me an opportunity, and Chip with strutmasters.com stuck with us. What an awesome. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. What an awesome way to do this. And these fans, woo! I can't believe it. Just Tom DeLoach, Chad Kendrick, great cause. The fans for pulling for us. This man right here.
How worried were you about the fuel mileage? Was he telling you where you were?
He had to calm me down. I wasn't worried, but then when he said that, then I got scared. But this is for my dad. I lost my dad in '01, and this is for him.
We've tried to document, Timothy, over the years here, the struggle that it was at the beginning, and to come up with the guys from Premier and to be so close to here. Is there any other place you'd have rather won?
No. Right here with Tom, right here at Martinsville.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Timothy Peters in victory lane. Red Horse Racing back here with the celebration.
The 3rd win for Red Horse Racing, and actually the 2nd time right here at this racetrack. We saw the list earlier of getting their first win in the Camping World Truck Series at this racetrack. Now to the top of the list, Timothy Peters' name is added. Celebration will continue for a long time at this racetrack. Welcome back to Kroger 200, just concluding. Timothy Peters, a huge smile on his face as he has won his first NASCAR race in his career. Took him 64 starts, but he has been able to make it to victory lane. See wife Sarah crying there, tears of joy.
That's one of those wins you saw coming, though, huh, Phil?
Sure, especially this year. When he got together with Red Horse Racing, they have been on it. Been consistently good week in, week out.
Back-to-back first-time winners in the Camping World Truck Series. We look at our unofficial results.
Tom Bodine, the 6th second-place finish on a short track. Hasn't quite got to victory lane, but he's been close a lot.
Denny Hamlin's got to be wondering about his call. He was outrunning Timothy Peters, who wound up winning the race. He could not run Kevin Harvick, but Kevin Harvick, he didn't have to race Kevin Harvick. He didn't appear. And Denny came to pit road, come out 6th.
Look at the point standings now, the Copart point standings, 224 points. That is the widest margin with 4 races remaining we have ever seen in the Camping World Truck Series.
Yeah, that really lessens the damage that Talladega could possibly do to Ron Hornaday.
It's a 2-man race now, too. I think Skinner's problems today took him out of the championship battle, and before today, he was still in it.
Todd Bodine and Brian Scott rounding out our top 5. Let's go back trackside to Adam Alexander.
And I don't think if someone told us before this race that Kevin Harvick would finish in the top 5, we would have been surprised. But if we had to see the adversity your team would endure, we probably would have said, no way. What a day, huh?
Yeah, it was a great day for everybody on our bounty in Kroger Chevrolet. Guys just kept digging. We got 2 laps down there, and we were able to have a good enough truck to where we were able to earn our laps back, actually. Didn't have to get the lucky dog or anything, and just ran out of truck there at the end. And you know, it's not worth pushing for 4th or 5th with a 33. If we were racing for a win, that'd be different. But, you know, we just burned the brakes up and wound up just kind of having to take what we had there. But great day. Coming from 2 laps down and getting the top 5, if you can take that every time something like that happens, that's what a good team is all about.
A good team day for KHI. Hornaday 4th, right in front of his boss.
They're having to be feeling like they're on the cusp of a championship. Yeah. You know, you saw Hornaday and Harvick and Delana standing there after the race sharing a smile.
Ron Hornaday came to victory lane to congratulate Timothy Peters. Very, very popular victory, I think, throughout the garage area.
Yeah, Timothy Peters is one of the nicest guys you'll ever run into, nicest guys you'll ever meet. And so a lot of guys we've seen already come up and congratulate Timothy Peters, knowing that he was going to be in victory lane sooner than later, and now it has obviously happened. So his celebration will continue for quite some time. Let's go back trackside to Adam Alexander.
For Todd Bodine, only 2 top 10s in the last 9 races entering Martinsville, and you nearly got a win today. Talk about it.
Yeah, we had a great Tundra. This Lumber Liquidators Tundra was really good. We struggled a little in first practice. Of course, that was a shortened practice. Then we come back second one. Junior and Tom made some really good changes. Got the thing to turn through the middle of the corner. That's what you got to have at Martinsville, be able to turn and get good forward bite, and we were. At the end of the race, we got a little tight in the middle. I had to use it up a little more than I wanted to coming through traffic. When Ron and Skinner and those guys got behind me, I knew I had to go then. I couldn't wait and burned it up a little bit. But it was a great day. You're right. Top 5 here for what we've had this year. We'll take it, you know, and go with it. You know, I know everybody on TV saw that pink helmet I was wearing. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Go online or go on to eBay, hopefully, after Talladega. Bid on it, and we'll raise some good money for a great cause.
Todd Bodine, a runner-up today at Martinsville.
Thank you, Adam. Again, celebration continues for Timothy Peters, and I'm sure it's not going to end here at Victory Lane.
It'll be long into the night, I would think, this celebration.
It is going to continue for quite some time. What a run Red Horse Racing and Timothy Peters have made this season. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Copart.com, online auto auction where you control the price you want to pay. Go to Copart.com today. Brought to you in part by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit ToyotaRacing.com. Toyota, moving forward. And by Camping World's Destination Recreation Sweepstakes. Log on to campingworld.com/racing. This is the last week to enter for weekly giveaways. This week, win one of 5 Honda generators. Ray Dunlap has caught up with our point leader, Ron Hornaday.
Well, thank you, Rick. And you were talking about Copart there. Ron will have Copart back on at Talladega, and that'll be the end of the Challenge of Champions. But, boy, you got to think championship today when you come out of here with a top 5, Ron.
Yeah, I didn't know the sun was coming out. I would have worn my Wiley X's, but awesome day. Rick Wren made a great call again. I mean, putting tires on that, not that early, but 50 laps. You know, last year we ran out putting tires on at lap 35. So Goodyear brought a tire what NASCAR wanted to wear out, and they were wearing out, so it was pretty slippery. Kevin and I both lost our brakes, so behind Todd right there, it boiled the brakes up, and the 6 got by me. But good day, good points day, and we'll take that and get out of Martinsville and go to Talladega.
All right, we wish you good luck, and he really had a good day in the points today, Adam.
And a good day for Colin Brown as well. 3rd is where he finished this afternoon. Nice strategy by your team, and you were able to keep it where it needed to be.
Yeah, my guys did a really good job on pit road. My crew chief, Mike Beam, did a great job and had a really good strategy. Like you said, that number 6 Conway Freight Ford F-150 truck was really fast at the end. I mean, I thought if the race was 50 laps longer, I thought we were going to have a shot at it. But certainly just a pleasure to drive that 6 truck. I mean, it drove so good today, and you know, I could make passes really easy and get by people. So it's just a lot of fun for me. I'm just glad to finish the race, and you know, to get a top 5 out of it's just bonus.
4th top 10 of the last 6 races for Colin Brown.
Another impressive run for that young man, going to the Nationwide Series in 2010, bringing Conway Freight along with him as he makes that transition into the stock cars. We see autographs being signed. What an amazing day for Timothy Peters. And it started off rainy, but I'm telling you, the sun is shining on this kid now.
But I'm telling you, 50 years from now, Timothy Peters will always remember this day with such fondness. I mean, to get your first win at this kind of level is incredible, and really proud of Timothy and all his guys. And again, this win's been coming. We knew it's been coming, but knowing it's coming, running well, it doesn't always get you to victory lane, but fortunately worked out for Timothy and his guys today.
Amazingly enough, as you mentioned, when he made the transition to Red Horse Racing, he was 19th in the point standings. And since he has made that transition, he's all the way up to 7th in the point standings. So impressive run for Timothy Peters. Welcome back to a sunny Martinsville, Virginia. We take another look at the Copart point standings. I had mentioned Timothy Peters moving all the way up into 7th in the point standings. But how about the battle from 4th all the way to 10th? That's only separated by 121 points.
That is an incredible battle. It was a tough, tight battle between 4th and 7th. Now it goes all the way back to 10th now. And what a great job Timothy Peters has done since he moved over to Red Horse Racing. Now all the way up to 7th position in the points. And look at Todd. He was out of the top 5 coming in here. Gains 2 spots, now up in 4th.
What about Johnny Sauter? We talked about all his top 5s and finally his win. He's driven all the way up to 5th in the points. One bad day, drops to 8th. This is going to be fun to follow throughout the rest of the year.
We talked about the momentum that Johnny Sauter had. Could the 3 weeks off have maybe been detrimental to that team, or is it just because we're at Martinsville?
It was a flat tire. That was detrimental to Johnny Sauter.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And it's the competition. It's that tough. One little slip, and your day could be doomed. Look at Kevin Harvick. He had a truck he could win with. Now, certainly, what a great recovery and got a top 5 finish, but that's not what he came here for. One flat tire took him out of a chance to win.
Denny Hamlin came here. He didn't feel like he had a good enough truck because Kevin Harvick passed him twice. He decided to come down pit road, get tires, make some adjustments. Did not even get back to a top 5 finish. So that's how quickly things can change here at Martinsville.
Well, and the points didn't change as far as 1 and 2. Matt Crafton still in 2nd. He's with Adam Alexander.
And a somewhat disappointing day for Matt Crafton. Your guys worked hard, got you a top 10, but not what you needed to close the gap on Hornaday today.
No, it definitely wasn't what we needed there. But, I mean, we got to give this whole group of guys an A for effort. I mean, it wasn't for lack of trying, because they threw everything you could possibly throw at a truck. I don't know, and we're just kind of dumbfounded, really. We made it better at the beginning of a run, but after about 30 laps, it would just go away and just be horrible at the end of a run. And I was just sitting duck. That's why we kept coming and putting tires on it and just hoping for maybe a 30, 40 lap run there at the end and go through them. But, I mean, all in all, I guess it's a decent day, as bad as we were and as much as we changed. I mean, got to thank everybody. Menard, Schrott, Cabinets, and we got 4 more to go and just see what happens.
See you at Talladega.
Thank you.
Get the big variable, Talladega. We've crossed a hurdle. We've gotten over one of the hurdles. It was Martinsville, the short track. Now it's the Mountain Dew 250 that we look forward to 1 week from today.
And anything can happen there. We're going to see trucks 3 wide, 4 wide, all over the racetrack.
And we're going to be doing all that on Halloween. That's got to put a little spark into things, don't you think?
But as Matt Crafton said, I ain't scared. And you shouldn't be scared either. Join in next week when we go to Talladega. Timothy Peters, victory lane, and the celebration continues.
Next week, we go racing on the scariest day of the year at one of the scariest tracks on the circuit. You saw what happened last year when the trucks raced on Halloween. You won't believe what happens this year. The setup goes trick-or-treating at Talladega, live at 3:30, only on Speed. Be there.